Ready? Let's open this meeting, regular meeting of the Teton Valley Parks and Recreation District Board. Note that we have all three directors here. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as written? Any additions?
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second. Any discussion? Discussion, those favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Public comments, so we have some public here. Please state your name for the record and try to keep it to 3 minutes or so if you'd like to talk.
Hello, Teton Valley Parks and Recreation Board of Directors and Executive Director. My name is Sage Hibbard. I live in Briggs. Over 450 people in the Teton region recently signed an open letter indicating that they would like to see indoor climbing continue to be a recreational opportunity in the Briggs Recreation Center. Over 10 years ago, our local rock gym was founded and built by the climbing community with substantial support from the city of Briggs. I'm hopeful that we can find a path as a community to recreate something even better. I urge the Teton Valley Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors to explore paths to retaining indoor climbing opportunities.
Other comments?
Hi, my name is Lindsay Leland. I live in Victor. And actually I have something written from my daughter that I'll start with. She's 13. She says, "Hello, my name is Hadley Nealon and I have lived in the valley since I was 2. Every year I would pick what my after school activity should be." Or she says a couple of years, but it's been since she was 5. She has chosen to do the kids program at the rock gym. It was a wonderful way for me to make friends, climb, and have exercise that I would otherwise not have. It became my sport, just like a lot of other people on the team. If I went rock climbing early, I would get to help the little kids. There were old people and young people. The range of people who would come to the gym was really cool to see. I saw regulars, people who came once a week, first timers, and everyone in between. The thing I thought was interesting was that everyone wanted the same thing. Everyone was there to achieve their goals, whether fun or exercise. When it went away, I was devastated along with a lot of other climbers. And then she rambled on a little bit. She's quite passionate about it. It is absolutely her thing, as I know it is for quite a few other people in the valley. And so I'm just here to kind of encourage, as Sage was saying, just that we keep a climbing gym in our community, and would love to move forward with the rec district in making that happen. And actually we went to the dump on Friday and a bunch of the features from the rock gym were there, and we got a bunch of them. So if you'd like some of those to get us started, I have them. But really, you know, as a parent of a teenager who this is so important to her, I just know rock climbing is, and that gym was so important to so many people, their physical and mental health. And I just would love to see something move into that space that we can climb again.
Other comments? Go ahead.
I'm not very good. My name is Eric Brewer, and I'm also just speaking that the rock gym is greatly needed. There's a lot of people who love climbing in the community, and especially in indoor space. And today I spoke to about 10 friends that wanted to come to this meeting but didn't know about it. And 2 o'clock on Tuesday is really hard, so there are others who wanted to come, but they all echoed, just the sentiment of like, we love climbing and having an indoor space. It seems like a really good opportunity to make something a little bit better than it was before. And yeah, everybody really wants that. There.
I'll go. We won't harm ourselves. My name is Claire Vitucci. I reside outside of Teton. Thank you guys so much for considering this. We really appreciate it. I would just, this is a significant gap that has been, there's now void in the community. And it was an opportunity for youth, teens, adults, families. It really served the wide gamut. It was one of the few activities that serves a wide swath of generations in one locale downtown. And the community has clearly demonstrated a demand for this indoor recreation and space, especially shoulder months and winter seasons. It's really a unique opportunity. I partially grew up here, and I have a daughter who is really actively involved in the climbing community, and it's such a neat thing. Like there was nothing to do after school here, and now there's a myriad of things, including climbing downtown, which was really amazing location. And I think the youth development is really amazing. These kids, they're tackling problems after school and climb a wall. It might be impossible for them. And they're nonplussed, and they'll do it again and again and again, yes, until they get it. And they're cheering for each other. I mean, it's really a supportive, and to see the practice they put in equate to like real advancement. It's so obvious. I wish I could spend so much time in the gym. You can see that it works for them. But it was a neat thing for the after school, for the ABC kids. I mean, it was within walking distance, so the location is really great. And I think just provides, just really unique opportunities. I think the accessibility and equity of the location were amazing, and it's just something to take advantage of that. And so again, I appreciate your guys' consideration at this particular moment in time. And I think that the facility also, can serve other nonprofits, Valley Adaptive Sports. And again, that central location and just being such a unique facility that it is adaptable for different people of all abilities. It was already designed. What's left maybe of it is there. And so it reduces the cost in order to take it on. There are things available that the community would rally to, make happen. And we know that they existed in our community not long ago. But tapping into this infrastructure and community while it exists seems pertinent. Let's see, sorry, I maybe too many things, but I think it does align well with your mission. And I think that my daughter is super into climbing, of course, so she's like, we have to move to Salt Lake. And I really why aren't climbers built in the Tetons? There are some grain elevators in Tetonia that to me, rec districts, a screen climbing gym. You could climb on the outside of the building and have Teton views, we're gonna have a Victor Rock Park. Why aren't climbers born in the Tetons? We could be that place. The Rec Center in Jackson speaks to that. So I just think this is a strategic opportunity. With the space, with the momentum that has been built over a decade, with these young climbers that are growing into older climbers and everything in between. So I really think this is about the community's wishes to preserve this unique recreational asset that has been built by the community over time, and would be great today and for decades to come. So thank you.
Thanks, Claire. God.
I'm Colleen Schooley. I live in Victor, and I also came just to hopefully support the suggestion that the rec district takes on the rock gym or the climbing gym, whatever we want to start calling it when it does exist again. My kids both also started climbing when they were young. They're from probably before the kids are allowed to climb now, and climbed up until the day that they closed it, which was a sad day. So I would just like all of us to come together, and as a community, we have a great opportunity with this new rec district to create something that I do think a large portion of the community can be involved in. It's not everyone, but nothing is going to be for everyone. Recreation means different things to different people throughout this community. So I think it's important to grab pieces from all of the different ways to recreate. And the other thing is we have a lot of outdoor recreation opportunities out here. Very, very few indoor opportunities at the moment. And I think using that space is a great way to create, again, an indoor space that can be for climbing and, general working out as well. So that's my spiel. I'm in support of using that space for the rock gym if at all possible. Thank you.
Okay. Scott?
My name is August Christensen. I'm the mayor in Driggs. And I also wanted to be able to talk about a possible partnership with climbing opportunities with the rec district. I do wanted to give you an update from our last council meeting that the majority of the council did indeed support the idea of having this space, trying to be able to partner with the rec district on it. It's been really interesting. We have had many people share their interest in this space already. It's been a good lesson of how we need more large, flexible places in our community. Because we have already done I don't know, we did a JPA or MOU, but we've already done that with you all. And council did say that they were interested in having the rec district kind of dig in a little bit more, specifically for climbing opportunities. So just wanted to be able to let you all know.
Right. Any other public input? Okay. Move on to item number 3, approval of minutes. May 2nd, or excuse me, May 12th minutes. Do we have any comments on the May 12th minutes? I have one comment under, a couple comments. Item 7B.
I'm pulling my notes here.
Right there.
Seven B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remove being, change it to say regarding the number of individual users. And then the last sentence, I'm not sure what John asked about trail space acquisitions. I'm not sure about
It
that.
was in the. Yeah, there was a conversation. It wasn't a long conversation, but it was a conversation in those minutes nonetheless.
And then 8 sentence there, landowner should be one word.
One word. Okay.
Number 9, subsection 3, social media, draft up. John Beller would draft up an editorial that discusses.
Okay.
Yeah. B2 under Billy, add Billy Sidaway, their full name there.
Can you spell that for me?
You spell Sidaway.
SIDDOWAY.
Okay.
It's on the county's website somewhere. I'm sure.
All right. Well, double
I had a
check.
couple of sheep once, and that's all I can remember. Yeah, and then down under 10, where it says Suzanne, if she had her last name in Suzanne's last name, you know that.
Awesome.
Huh.
The
Oh,
council.
Suzanne from
This
Assel.
Asshole.
ASTL.
ISTLE. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other comments?
No, but going back to like the acquisitions, I think you that was talking about a place for winter trails.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, why don't you add that trail potential for winter trails, yeah, there's that up. There a motion to accept those as written, as edited?
I'll make a motion to accept the May 12th meeting minutes as edited.
For a second,
I'll second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Any comments on the May 19th?
That was the tour.
The tour.
I think you covered it, John.
Okay. is there a
No
motion?
edits.
I'll make a motion to accept the May 19th special meeting minutes.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. Motion passes. Last was the June 2nd special meeting minutes. I sent out some edits this morning. I don't know if everyone had a chance to read those. That was the one where Katie was absent and she had to record it on they were recorded on her phone, so it was difficult to translate.
About it, but then you volunteered, so I'm like, okay. I'll let you.
I thought I gave people enough time to look at it before the meeting so they could
Yeah.
they could redline it for me because I knew red lines were coming. I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, she's not gonna volunteer anymore.
I mean, I thought Katie's was actually pretty good.
My hearing hasn't gone just yet. The volume is up on everything, but it's not my hearing.
And some of the stuff that you had crossed out, John, I don't know what was your reasoning, because I remember saying
Let's see
stuff
where
you had
they
crossed
were.
out. Maybe it was
It's-
worded a little differently. Like 3AI.
Yeah,
I guess I didn't say get the rock gym out, said maybe it wasn't easy out. I don't know.
That would sounds more like it. Sorry.
yeah.
So then, oh my gosh, we're just like, I mean, it was a little harsh, I guess. But yeah, that was a quote from our minutes previously, so. Accurate, what I
Okay,
said.
so let's remove that. Reject that deletion. Any other changes to those? Did you remove that deletion?
I have it in my notes to do it because I'm sharing my screen right now. I don't think people want to watch me try to type.
No, that's fine, yeah.
If it's only my own personal embarrassment, because you guys will see, just I delete and backspace like you wouldn't believe. I swear I could.
Any other changes to those edits?
No, I think. When you're looking at Matt.
Looking at John's edits. And I do agree with your comments there about leaving the comment that the city apparently had plans of, changing the lessor, lessee, I forget which one. Lessee.
Well, my one comment here on number 5, did we discuss removing the fairgrounds at that meeting?
From the
I
JPA.
think so. Not at that meeting, no, so that should be deleted now.
Delete 5.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, no, I saw those names, yeah.
Otherwise, I'm good with the edits as proposed by John.
There a motion to accept the revised minutes as edited.
I'll make a motion to accept the revised minutes for our special meeting, June 2nd.
For a second,
I'll second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay. Now we hear disbursements. We have 3, we got Burkhart bookkeeping for $445. Harmony, this is a designs invoice for $10,395. And MSTB law invoice for $315. Any discussion on any of those invoices?
I have no comments on Jennifer Cart.
That's our standard monthly.
Yep. It's my feeling that we're on
track with the Harmony project and what they've built and done to date. And I continue to be amazed at how low our legal fees are.
Consider it was hard to do a lot.
Exactly.
Yes, that's what I think too. Yes. Yes, I liked your response to the numbers. I don't know where you're gonna get that number, but that was good. Is there a motion to accept the disbursements? Approve the disbursements?
I'll make a motion to approve the disbursements as presented for Burkhardt Bookkeeping, Harmony Design, and MSBT Law.
Second that motion. All those in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Let's see, any discussion on monthly financial reports?
Question, have we not dispersed that money for TBA yet?
This would have been last end of May.
Yeah, if we're in June, should we see all of May? When we're looking at,
Yeah, that's the. As of
it says
June.
it's through the 31st, doesn't it?
When were those dispersed?
Wait, May 26th.
I just got all, like, Joe sent me this last week, the updated sheets last week.
But were you able to get the checks and send a check to TBA for the swim stuff?
It's all been like electronically sent, so it's not gonna come out until June.
Okay.
Because it takes 7 to 10 days for those checks to come up and get mailed to them. And I had to do it on 3 separate because our accountant doesn't let me do a complete 26,000. So I had to do 1 day of 98, 1 day of 81, 1 day of 81, to total 26,000.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Sorry, it sounds annoying.
I've been keeping Barb in the loop. She knows they're coming this week.
Any other questions, comments? Not. Move to item 10, Briggs Recreation Center climbing gym space discussion. I'd forwarded the board a letter from Doug Self suggesting and kind of mimicking what Mayor August Christensen mentioned, that they were interested in maybe allowing climbing space there. I think if I remember correctly, it was a 5-year potential on that. And so what I was interested in seeing maybe and pursuing as the board, maybe having a discussion, figuring out, okay, what are, if we just to be able to make a decision whether that's something we want to do or not, is looking at what are the implications of doing it, what do we need as far as obtaining insurance, what would be the cost associated with putting such a facility in place. Identify those things, identify labor. Labor could be a huge issue to try to find somebody that would actually manage that. And then better understand the finances associated with that, whether how self-sufficient that facility was and how much potential, cost it would be for operations for us. I mean, that's kind of my thought here is, would that make sense to go pursue? There seems to be a lot of interest in the community to seeing what we could do there. That would be the kind of the first step in looking at that.
Is that something that should be covered under the JPA committee then? Is that something?
Well, I think I mean, the JPA committee could pursue that and bring it forth, but I think it's broader than that, because what this really is not it's under a facility that's there. But I think the board itself needs to decide whether, is that something we want to pursue? I think it's enough of it would be a capital probably investment for us to get things started. It's broader than just the city of Driggs. It's a facility in Driggs, but it's a broader community-wide thing. And I think the first step is, figuring out what's the feasibility is really what we're looking at. What are the things that have to be put in place? those sorts of things. So I think, starting it here is to me makes sense.
Did you guys look at Jansen Gunderson's proposal that he had been working on?
Yeah, I looked at it last time he forwarded that. Yeah. That would be is that $200,000?
Yeah, just under $200,000 for the structural stuff, but does not incorporate any of the labor
Right.
or insurance.
Yeah, and I think what we need, again, is one of those, let's look at what would be the feasibility of this, and that's looking at, what is the capital cost? What's the insurance issues? What's the operational issues? What's the operational cost? What's the revenue that thing brings in? Would potentially bring in, and it's something we'd have to look at over time and make a decision then if we have that information in hand. Like I say, there appears to be pretty good community support. A lot of people looking at that hole that's been left there. If we just look at the feasibility of doing something.
Yeah. I have to be honest, I have a concern that just the optics and the timing of this, right? It's essentially a failing nonprofit. I think there was a lack of board oversight. That was a part of the issue with that group. There were some other things relative to how the executive director seems to have, at the end of the lease, gone a little scorched earth, where stuff is being found in the dump, it doesn't seem to be a wise use of capital resources to just discard them. And is it creating a recipe of, this is really hard running this, kayaking club I've got in the Teton River. Let's create a little bit of an issue, and then maybe we can get the Parks and Rec District to build us a boathouse because we can't figure it out. And we really want this, and there's a lot of need, and I can find 100 people that are like boating and can speak to it. I don't love how we're kind of just sliding right into this thing. We've got a lot of great work happening with JPAs, with the different municipalities, the county, hopefully the school district. We've kind of had that as our mission in some ways for the first year here to create that elevated baseline and get the Parks and Rec districts operating well, and to sort of stop what we're doing and start putting out fires that other people have created. Gives me pause.
Yeah, I think I don't think of it as putting out a fire. I mean, yeah, there's a fire. I guess there's a fire there in some respect. But I think what I'm proposing is really to determine. I mean, part of it is determine. Like you're saying, is it because they were losing money? We don't know that. I mean, I don't know that. And so if we do basically that feasibility study to understand, is this something that makes sense or not? Is it, what are the costs? What's the revenue there? We don't really know what that is. And so all I'm really doing is proposing, or all I'm suggesting is that we look at that opportunity and see, does it make sense? If it comes back and the result is we'll lose $50,000 a year doing this, then we have to definitely think twice whether that makes sense or not. If it covers its costs, and we can show that it covers its costs, then it's probably might be something we want to pursue. And so that's all I'm really suggesting at this point is let's look at it, see if it makes sense, and then move forward. I'm not suggesting we go out and buy a bunch of equipment today because we're not ready. Know what it would cost. We don't even know if we could.
It's great, John. I think, my guess is that the feasibility would pan out. The demand is there. The space exists. It's a fairly low capital cost recreation opportunity. Sure, there's staffing, sure, there's insurance costs. I don't really know what those are. What if it takes us 4 or 5 months to decide that? What is Driggs going to want to do with that space? Are they interested in leasing it? Are they interested in holding space for 6 months until this gets figured out? I'm not really interested in seeing our a huge chunk of our Parks and Rec resources just slide into the take over a climbing facility when we've got a recreation master plan and survey coming out that's supposed to identify what the entire community is saying is where they want to see the recreation dollars spent. So,
Right.
but if we wait for that survey, is the opportunity here missed? I think that's probably a real concern.
Right.
But that's my concern, is sort of putting the climbing cart before the community horse.
Yeah, I wonder, and we discussed this a little last 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, whenever that was, whether because of the timing of things, whether that need has been addressed and accounted for in that. And we really should talk to Allison about that too, whether that, shows up in that survey, the master plan, because if somebody's asking, do we need a climbing facility in this valley? And, the answer was, well, we already have one. We had one a month ago. And so is that being missed from that too? So that's the other piece of that.
Could be.
Yeah.
And Jansen had sent the info I requested as far as the zip codes that participated in that letter. 202 from 83455, 146 from 83422, and 35 from 83452. So that's almost as many people as filled out our survey. Like, so it's hard to, especially, when a lot of people filled out the survey that climbing gym existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, it'd be interesting to talk to somebody who does these sorts of things to see, when there's a petition, how many people respond to that petition. I mean, there's a certain group of people that are gonna respond. I bet everybody at that end of the table probably did. But then there's a certain group of people that just sort of, don't for whatever reason, but those are maybe potentially interested people. I guess what I'm thinking of is, again, back to the point at the beginning is should we proceed? And it's not an action item that we need to vote on, but if the general consensus is, let's go out and figure out, does this make sense or not? Because we really haven't answered that question, I don't think. Whether, we can even ask the mayor here while she's here, whether, if this takes us 3 or 4 months to decide that it's something we want to pursue, is that space going to be available, or is it, do we need to make a decision to meet there within 2 weeks or something? Or
What do you feel like you need more to understand? I mean, if Jansen has said it's 200 grand, in my limited research, that seems like, a little bit above the cheapest amount you could spend to get a climbing gym started. So it feels like a good.
Well, I think we need to understand. I mean, one of the things I'm concerned about, which is a huge problem here, is labor. Who we're going to get to run it? I mean, Katie's not going to.
Well, it doesn't really matter who we're going to run it. We know it's going to cost us,
Been certified years.
There's 2 people, it's going to cost us anywhere from, 120 to $1,000 a year.
Yeah. I mean, we can identify, I mean, we could scope it as, we need 1 to 2 people operational.
Yeah.
But, and part of what I'm concerned about is there somebody out there in the community that is willing to manage that facility under our direction, so it would be an employee at that point. And so kind of getting a feel for that. And is there people out there, if we get, 1 person responding, that might not be good. If we get 5 people saying, this would be something I'd be interested in doing, that might be good. I mean, that's a better sign. So that's a piece of information I think would be important to understand. The other is, what are the operational costs? I mean, we can estimate, what those are. I think we can figure that out, but we still need to do that to make that determination. And then the last piece really is what is the revenue that could be expected, to understand what the cost to us will be, and whether books work. If the books don't work, what level of subsidy you would be interested in or not. Depends on if that's something we want to do.
Can I add something?
Sure.
I've also heard, I don't have experience this myself, but I've also heard that, the option of having a manager, I've also heard that the possibility of the rec district taking over that space through our JPA with the city of Driggs? And would it be like contracting out with somebody who's gonna do the whole facility? But the rec district is overseeing them instead of the city of Driggs. So I feel like there's just like different levels of costs and involvement directly to the rec district that may be different options. So I just want to show that one too.
Yeah, so that approach, what you're suggesting is that it would basically go out for kind of a bid for somebody for operation, for construction and operation, or just operation. And that's also plausible.
I would just say, you know, there's a lot of drama there, right? And like, so we're gonna go out and pick someone from this drama fest, and how are we gonna know what side of the drama fest they're on, or whichever, you know? And I just worry. I think there's a lot of baggage on this thing, and so I would be generally opposed to the idea of saying, you know, we're just going to be a facilitator. Let's turn it on to these passionate community members, these community members that are passionate about climbing, because there just seems to be a lot of baggage there with a lot of those community members. We had someone presumably run for public office over this issue.
So from Allison's last email, when she sent out the preliminary survey results, she says to begin thinking about any additional information we'd like to get from the public. This could be more specific questions about topics or different topics altogether. So
We have a meeting tomorrow
yeah.
at
like,
4.
Maybe this is just something we highlight perhaps in our plan to see.
I think that's a great idea,
if
Sarah.
interest is
Yeah,
there.
you know, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think the point I'm trying to make around some of the drama is just that I would like the new gym to feel like it has a new start, right? And so we need some fresh
I would agree. Yeah.
management there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I would worry about what past troubles we'd be bringing to ourselves if we tapped into the existing network there, I suppose. So,
Yeah, I mean, that'll
and
be,
that's a tough thing to do because
Right,
you know,
right.
the
Who are-
climbers, right? It's
Yeah.
like, what are we gonna do? Find a non-climbing
yeah.
climbing person to run
Climbing
it?
person.
It doesn't.
Hey, that would
make a
be
lot
me.
of
I
sense.
used to be a climber.
Yeah,
I'm a
there you go.
climbing
We
person.
just need someone who's retired from it.
Yeah,
What's that saying? Those that don't do teach.
Yeah, those who can't teach.
I don't teach.
I might just, can I say one thing?
Sure.
Is that, yeah, just from somebody who's been involved with it for a while, I think just the fact of having like the board or administrators or whoever it is actually in the valley and, you know, just, I think that would solve a lot of problems that was going on.
Okay. So is the general consensus that we should at least proceed forward with looking if it makes any sense, feasibility, just kind of let's look at what it would take to do something like this. And I guess I'll ask.
Well, I really like Sarah's idea of having Allison directly kind of address this. I think that's a great thing to include. I guess it's unclear to me what is really meant by feasibility. Is it simply materials, labor, insurance, oversight, and what we think those costs are? Is it about what the structure and the organization of it would be?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of those. So if I was, looking from an engineering standpoint, and I was gonna look at the feasibility of it, I'd be looking at all those sorts of things. If I start a new project, is what's the cost? What's the capital cost associated with getting in place? What's the logistical issues associated with getting in place, which are things like insurance. It's like, is that facility gonna be available in 3, 4, or 5 months when we decide to move forward? What is the labor ability? Do we have people that we could actually, have a fair confidence that we can actually operate a facility? And that definitely, as I think we've all expressed, would need to be new blood. not as much as we can keep away from those sides. And looking at operational costs that would come out of that, and then what the potential revenue is and what we would expect that revenue to be. So we can understand and balance that, look at those books and say, yeah, this makes sense. So you're looking at all those things to make that kind of a determination.
And is it something that could be part of a larger rec center? You know? that-
Transferable equipment in the
Yeah.
future.
So if it does get built one here and it's decided by the community that we need a large rec center, is the climbing wall part of that indoor space?
There.
I mean, I would hate for it to have to wait, you know? So I feel like if there are people that are so passionate about it and can make something happen in the meantime, government takes so long. And passionate people are ready to move now, they should just do it. I don't know. Because we're still in the planning phase for what we're doing with the district
You
here.
mean if someone's interested in doing it in a private manner? Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't want people to not do it.
on the hopes that we are. Yeah. You know. I think it's great to study things for feasibility. I'd be curious what next steps would be, curious what lease terms you might expect. Is it a 5-year lease? Is it a 10-year? Is it a 15? What do we want to sign up for there?
Yeah, I think what Doug in his letter or note to his email suggested, what was it, 5-year or until a rec facility was built and extension from that if need.
Okay.
And that's his suggestion there.
Would Sarah's idea of it being demountable and movable be an important criteria now? And would that affect the $200,000 budget to something larger, presumably, to reserve the ability to move the stuff? I don't really know how.
Yeah, I think that
Planning
proposal, I
division.
think it was a movable site.
We could move to a different space.
I mean, I think we'd really need to think about it hard of what that needs to be. I mean, that's one person's proposal of.
Sure.
And I think we need a broader community input to, okay, here's what we need, but I think from a feasibility. Trying to understand, does this make sense for us to do or not? And that's all I'm really looking for is, does it make sense? I don't know the answer to that. But that provides a good kind of capital basis for, yeah, here it is something. And this makes sense. And what other things or how would this be, changed if the climbing community's input into that? And of course, they're not going to get everything they want because that would be huge and unmanageable probably because, but if we can define what that is and what those kind of minimal things are that need to get started and make that growth there.
I think it is something that could be a part of the rec district. I just don't think it would happen as quickly as people want it. So I think it's good to look into it because it is important to the community, but I just think so far expectations, it might not match up with what the government can do.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so just to help us get off a center here or move forward, I'll go ahead and pursue, kind of try to identify what that feasibility might look like and try to pull something together, see what we can do on Katie on some of that. And provide that forward. We also have the committee looking at that, see what they come up with, see if that something needs additional consideration.
Great.
That even makes sense.
August, has the city of Driggs talked about a timeline that they're looking to have this space leased by, or is that really a concern of yours with revenue or anything like that? It was so minimal to begin with, correct?
No, we just had, brought it up for the first time with council last Tuesday. And it was, there's not a plan in place, but mostly just to have that identified to continue talking about it. So no. No time.
So I
For
guess
start date.
my expectation, John, would be your feasibility study is gonna prove that it's very feasible. I think it is.
I don't know the answer to that.
I'm just speculating. Let's just say, well, for argument's sake or whatever, it's very feasible. Is it your expectation that we would then have our second staff person or third, that we would start to staff up, ask Teton Valley Parks and Rec to manage this facility?
Could potentially, yeah, I don't know what makes the best sense there, but yeah. Maybe one of the advantages to that would be, and again, if you look at that, it would be looking at the numbers, and so that staff person would be covered by the revenue associated with that. But one of the benefits of a staff person being hired into us is the benefit package they could obtain, which would be good, and that would help you secure better, people, because it's hard in this community to find good work that has medical and retirement benefits. And so
Yeah.
I see that as a positive. And if the fees cover that, that's part of making the numbers work.
Okay.
If the numbers work, that makes sense. If it has to be subsidized, that's a whole different question. And so to me, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know how.
I think I totally agree with the way you're framing that, and that's a big question for me, because I think a lot of the issues that the former climbing gym dealt with was a lack of board oversight, right? And so I wouldn't want to. That's the responsibility we'd be taking on, right? And just in the optics of the entire thing, to say that it's somehow subcontracted to some group that's going to run this for us or whatever, I think we would be setting ourselves up for more drama. I would prefer if this group was then the ones that said,
I would concur
these are the
with that
rules
kind
of the
approach,
of the facility. Yeah.
Can I add to your question?
It was a comment.
So one of what's that,
That was a comment.
his question to me before.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That being said, I would also add that I don't believe that the city would just hold it indefinitely for maybe the rec district is going to do. As I said before, we've had a number of organizations already reach out to us looking to be able to use it for other types of things. So there is that.
So what I would suggest for that is that if we continue to have traction here, we would write a letter of intent.
Sure. I'd also like to point out, though, that originally in the council's decision with Teton Rock Gym was that they had 30 days to continue their operations, which was until June 19th. And then in the final letter that went to them from staff is that they would have an additional 30 days, which may have been through July 31st, but would have to confirm that with my staff, that they would have to clear out that space. So I'm saying that out loud because that means we may be tied to that day through the end of July, that the Teton Rock Gym had to be able to clear out the space. So
I think I can guarantee you, we won't be doing anything for that.
no, I know. Ideas of
Right.
dates that it's not that anybody would be doing anything before that.
Yeah, I guess in Doug's note, he had mentioned TISA. Might be interested, like, that makes a lot of sense to me because they've outgrown that space a long time ago. And that's also another,
The senior center wants it to do adult exercise space. There's lots. And we also think that it's a good fit for the rec district, so. Um,
Thanks, Audrey.
Okay, so, yeah, move yourselves on, keep us moving here. I'll go ahead and try to pull some level of feasibility together to look at.
Thanks, John.
To consider. Yeah. Let's see. Next, agenda item, public land access easement discussion.
We've missed like 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
We jumped down to,
Oh, what
we've
did I
missed
miss?
we jumped down to 6. So we went from the balance sheet down to 10, but that's great because we have a lot of people that were here to hear this.
There you go. Sorry about
So
that.
we need to go back to number 6.
Very
we're
sorry.
gonna see how boring our.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry, Jade. I didn't mean to do that to you.
That's okay. I thought it was intentional. So I was just.
I thought it
You
was,
know,
no,
I like to
I
think,
put you up there because
It
you
was
would
a
have to like sit through the whole
you
meeting.
know, usually when I,
Listen to James.
usually when I blow people off, I want to make sure they know it's intentional. This was purely accidental.
Thanks, community members.
Sweet.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thing. That's when I jump back and forth here between things. So yes, so Jade.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. We did create a little bit of like a staff report that I can share with you after, but I realized we didn't get it to you ahead of time, so it's not included for the public. But I think maybe I'll just kind of start with a general overview of where we are, the city of Driggs Parks. Oh, by the way, I'm Jay Kruger, the planning building director.
Jay Gozlowski, Public Works Director and City Engineer.
And parks kind of falls between our departments. We do not have our own parks department. So a couple of us staff really take on everything parks related. We currently have 41.3 acres of existing developed park space that includes some improvements. We have an additional potential 71 acres for future park space with a potential shared EMS facility. That's the undeveloped but conceptually master planned Woods Creek Park. We also just received an additional donation for a 2.5 acre park. All of our city planning documents refer to a 4% growth rate, which we're meeting pretty consistently. So with that growth, we're obviously trying to grow our park space and our improvements to ensure that all of our residents have connected trails, pathways, and park space. So especially the area north of Ross, developing with high density residential significantly fast, I would say. So we're anticipating another 7 to 9 acre park owned and operated by the city in that area to support multifamily residential. Along with that, we're in the process of developing a linear trail system. So we have a canal that runs through the city of Driggs in the north end there, kind of like from Shoshone Plains all the way down to La Grande Pierre. And so the intent is to utilize that as a natural feature and create a linear park space, trail space. So some of that is private development, and they've included that within their development plans. We've been working with the school district as well. They've given us an easement to create and maintain that trail in the future once some of those developments start coming online. So that non-paved trail is connected. From a funding perspective, we collect impact fees for park space. The impact fees itself only accounts for 26% of the anticipated growth. The rest, 74%, is done through donations or payment in lieu. So if the developer says, I don't have the space to do this, but can I give you payment instead? We'll take that, and that contributes to the other, 70%ish or whatever of our anticipated growth. And that's for the actual parks. So we've been following through on our impact fee study and our capital improvement plan very consistently. So again, that plan anticipated 4% growth, and we've been meeting it regularly.
And I think a key point from those impact fees is those can only be used to expand
Yeah,
our park space. We can't use them for maintenance. We can't use them for deferred maintenance. It's only expansion of the facilities to keep that level of service that we currently have up with our growth. So just kind of the overview. I don't know park impact fees pieces, but
Those
just
are development impact fees?
correct. So every house that gets constructed has to pay an impact fee.
And are you guys charging fees in the parks?
for reservations, yeah.
Those are really a very nominal fee, and I'll touch base on those a little bit later.
Sure. I think, I'm not sure if it's this meeting or the next meeting, but the joint. So the City of Drake's Parks Committee is very active. We also have a tree and beautification committee. They kind of go together, in my opinion, especially within our budget. They reviewed our fiscal year 26 project requests for the rec district, and the joint board reviewed them. I think they're coming to you shortly. Those included only, I think the only enhanced operations, is what I'm calling it, component was really the lighting for the skate park at Fifth Street and the irrigation equipment for Lions Park. The other 3 projects contemplated were new capital improvement projects. So that's what we did for 2026. Jade, you want to hit on operations currently?
Sure. So Jade handles a lot of the planning, dealing with the developers, what parks we're having, and her planning team helps us expand that. I get the other side of it, and that's making sure the parks are kept up. Maintenance, implementing the expansion plans, and budgeting and scheduling how we maintain those parks, what facilities can we continue to improve, what are degrading, and following through on that part. And so, Matt, to answer your question, we do collect fees. So when we budget for our parks operations, we budget approximately $250,000 a year. That's about our budget. And that's basically the level of service you're seeing at the park. That includes some tree replacements, not all of them. Unfortunately, we can't keep up with our number of dying trees, but includes tree replacement, contracted services on our parks. So we contract out the mowing, weed whacking of our parks, fertilizing of the grounds, and maintaining those parks. And then it also,
Who's your prime sub?
excuse me,
Who's your prime subcontractor?
for the past couple of years, it's been O'Brien Landscaping. It's been mowing and weed whacking. They won the contract last year. We're the bidders. We put it out to a public bid. And the other piece of that maintenance is we have a seasonal employee for winter and summer season, part-time. And that funds that. That's about, and that's a part-time, 3 days a week, probably 2.5 days towards parks, another half a day towards our transportation system. And that's basically his responsibility is picking up the trash, unlocking the doors at the bathrooms, and pretty much just making sure that the parks landscaper contractors are following through, not really doing any maintenance. Doesn't really have time or bandwidth other than minor maintenance projects. That also includes some of Jade's staff time, or is planning on to include some of Jade's staff time, my staff time. So basically, it equates over the year of about one person to manage our parks for a full year. It's about $90,000, $90 to $100,000 in our budget for that, for running our park system between our staff. That's our staffing level of input. And so really that's the piece, our income. So that's our expenses. Our income, the city transfers $125,000 from our general fund. That's based on the residents' property tax. So if you live in Driggs, you pay property tax specifically to Driggs. That's our general fund. A portion of 125 of that goes to funding those operations. Approximately another $100,000 that is allocated from our resort tax. So when people come through town and spend, we get a resort tax. About $100,000 of resort tax is allocated to our parks fund. Some of the other 25 to 50,000 is allocated either through our parks fees Typically, we gather about $12,000 in parks fees. And that's for rental use of our parks, between the baseball, the softball, lacrosse, all the activities that are used. And then sometimes we get some grants, tree grants, and more grants. And so that's the overview of the city's budget on that. Big picture is we're doing basically keeping it at this level of service and struggling to keep it at that level of service for our maintenance. As we add, as we see from the parks district's money coming in, we're adding additional features to the parks. Those need to be funded, and that's the key piece. Our city budget's designed as we add parks and as we add space, we're trying to keep it at that same level of service for operations and maintenance. When we get new features added, so adding new shade structures, adding new water fountains, those aren't unfortunately a set it and forget it. They do have annual maintenance and they do have replacement costs. And so that's something that we currently don't have allocated for in our current growth plan, because some of these features that is coming from the rec district weren't necessarily anticipated to be maintained by city funds.
So one thing I think we need to think about, and that's, when we put together our that template that you guys helped, very short notice. Thank you again for doing that short notice, is kind of a first cut of looking at these different projects. One of the things we need to consider is what are those long-term maintenance costs associated with any of those capital projects? Because, those shade structures are actually our shade structures. And so we need to allocate some funds associated with maintenance of those things. So when we implement a capital project, we need to think about that. And that's probably, I can't remember if we had that in.
Well, you threw me the softball, Chair, on the next.
Jay's a softball player, not me.
Wiffle ball?
Pickleball?
Pickleball?
No.
Really and that's what we're in front of you for, is we're seeing this. We love the rec district. I mean, it's great. It's helping us. We're improving our parks, adding amenities.
You may in the future. You haven't seen anything from us yet, unfortunately. For all sorts of reasons.
See ahead.
Okay.
I'm positive.
Mhm.
But what we were looking at is how do we allocate some of these funds to upgrade our operations, and how do we request from the Parks and Rec district? How do you guys help us enhance our operations? And then really that's what we were looking and trying to come up with an equitable way for all of the municipalities that have these parks and run them and manage them and maintain them. And based on the agreement between the cities, it's written into our agreement that can be, it's part of what the goal is.
Mhm.
And so what we were thinking is in the annual budgets to help us in our budgeting process and the district in theirs is allocate a portion of the funds that you're giving to the cities to the operations of the city, enhanced operations, whether you can help us define what those are, but to help us pay for, okay, we've got new shade structures. Obviously, the district doesn't have staff to maintain and putting them down at this point, and that's what the city anticipates. But how do we fund, or how does the rec district help fund maintaining those amenities that we're putting in?
Mhm.
And so what Jade and I were brainstorming was based on the acreage of parks for each of the city. If you've got so much you're distributing to each of the cities, that a percentage is allocated to each of the cities for enhanced operation, maintenance of facilities.
Yeah, one thing we kind of talked about, and we're kind of in a funny spot, and you've probably heard it in our last discussion of, kind of waiting for this master plan to be put in place. Because that really should be guiding our short-term, long-term goals as a district. And so in the near term, and what we don't really want to do, in my mind, it's just me speaking, is start to allocate too many funds for operational maintenance type activities until we know where we want to go with this long term. I think that's different than our projects. We need to cover operational costs associated with any project we propose or we work together. But
Well, I'll point just right to the line in our MOU, our interagency agreement that specifically says, it allows the board to pay an equitable portion of ongoing maintenance expenses. And so really that's what we're looking at is if we want to up the level of service in our parks. I understand you've got a parks master plan and maybe it's only for the next 2 years while you get that upgraded and you can use that as a guiding document. But if we keep getting, I'm looking at it from operations standpoint.
Right.
If I keep getting new facilities I have to add, but I'm not getting funds associated to maintain them, they're not going to get maintained. I hate to say it, but the shade sales might not go up. You might not have the bandwidth, public, the one guy we've got allocated to parks.
yeah, no, and I guess, Jay, what I'm kind of thinking on that is, and that's a good example. If there are operational costs associated with that particular project that we've identified, we need to know what those are from our approval standpoint. So we go, yeah, we're willing to cover those costs for that particular thing, which is in my mind, a little different than say, mowing and, general mowing and things like that. That's a little different thing.
I would disagree with you on that one. I actually see that mowing is an ongoing portion of our maintenance.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's not something we can't do within the agreement.
Okay.
I'm just saying, this is just my opinion, one of three, could be three, I don't, but, is that I don't know that we want to always cover though. We don't want to get into the position where we've guaranteed money to cities and then suddenly our pool's all used up. And then we decide the community said, well, this is really where we want to go.
Suddenly you guys aren't able to maintain your facilities because you're counting on, parks have grown, you've gotten however many thousands of dollars from us. We then want to tackle the largest climbing gym in the Western US
And world.
or world.
Completely neutral.
And then you guys want to hold the bag is what we're trying to get. This being facetious, I forget we're sometimes we're on the record here, right?
Yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Good meeting there.
Anyways, but the point being, we don't leave you guys hanging the bag where we kind of go, okay, hey, it's time for the Parks and Rec District to now put a lot of our effort towards some larger recreational amenity when you guys are now have been counting on the those funds for basic operations. And so I think the way that I've been looking at it, again, just one opinion here, is that for the near future, though, there are so many parks and recreation facilities here that don't have experienced deferred maintenance issues that we can elevate the baseline of those facilities, but not take it so far that your budget is counting on our dollars for the gasoline and the lawnmowers. And it's a little bit easier for us to then say, actually, hey, there are 4 new beautiful shade structures in 2 different parks in Driggs that came out of the Parks and Rec District. And there's a little plaque on it that says so. And in perpetuity, we're replacing the sailcloth on those every 5 years or whatever, because that's a defined amenity versus, top dressing something or whatever the case might be. So does that make sense as a distinction? And part of what our hope with you guys now is that I think there is a little bit of a shell game that happens where in the meantime, you can count on us helping you elevate the baseline, and maybe some of the $250,000 budget that you guys have could go towards some other need within your parks division, but not so much so that you are relying upon us for the maintenance of those things indefinitely.
And I think we're on the same page. That's what I was saying. I would say, and I think in the short term, that's a great plan. What I would say is, as you're considering your master plan, consider an allocation of those to the baseline maintenance of those funds. When you're talking with your consultants, that really take a look at, okay, there's a baseline maintenance that isn't just used by the city, that is used by the county-wide members that are using not just City of Driggs, but City of Teton, City of Victor, all those citywide parks, and that the county-wide piece, we're currently is not bearing much of that maintenance. And so that and I'm kind of looking long distance on that into your parks plan, that should be included, or I'd request that be looked at in the long term.
That's definitely where I've seen the Parks and Rec being able to help the cities is maybe we put a percentage on it. What percentage is being used by people from outside the city? And how can the whole community help fund that without double taxing? You know, so that, I mean, it's gotta be on all our minds that you guys are collecting taxes from your citizens within your city. We gotta make sure we're accounting for that, and you guys are mandated to spend a certain amount of money, right, on parks?
No, the only mandate we have is spend $2 per person on trees.
$2.
General fund, so there's nothing, there's no park specific besides the impact fees and the resort tax, right? That has, this
No.
resort tax is not, it doesn't have anything about parks.
So there's zero mandated meetings. So if city council at some point said, we don't care about the parks anymore, I doubt this would happen. And again, we're living in that weird world. If that happened, then there would be no maintenance to the parks. If there was no budget allocated from the general fund or resort tax, if all of that money gets sucked up elsewhere, the maintenance of parks could go away. I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying I wanted to, I will fight. I fought tooth and nail to get the budget where it is now, from general fund, and we actually, from the city's standpoint, created its own fund 2 years ago, its own independent fund to help us track expenses, seeing the park district coming on board, Parks and Rec district coming on board, so we could accurately track income and revenue and actual expenses.
Yeah, building on kind of what Sarah was saying, one of the things we're kind of looking at too, though within the JPA, we kind of included all parks. But I think, when we start to look at, it's the ongoing maintenance suggesting, some percentage, it would be of those parks that are really kind of, for the choice of better word, county-wide parks used broader by the county as opposed to those small community or neighborhood parks. The neighborhood parks are really for the neighborhood. And so figuring out how to do that. And so that in some ways makes it a little more difficult to look at just, if you're just looking at percentage of or acres of park, because, some are small that aren't used by the county as a whole. City Park is probably used by the county as a whole. Lions Park, same type of thing. Primrose because of the soccer fields and stuff too. So those make, I think.
Even could do that when Treadmore is used by county residents.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we can have.
A buzz, so
Yeah.
all those people are coming into the city to use our park space.
Nowhere Mount Shredmore is, what it,
Shoshone Plains.
okay, Shoshone Plains, okay.
It's been
I guess-
renamed.
Oh, yes, we should announce it.
Okay.
This is great.
Okay,
Renaming.
yeah, I read that and I'm like, where is that? And I was just over in that area the other day, I guess, but is there a lot of parking there?
Yeah,
How
there's
many
a parking lot.
parking
It's
spaces?
it's for the Nordic cross-country skis in the winter.
Is that, making sure it's available for use by the residents?
And we just added a whole new play structure.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people use for, like the Nordic dog walking on snow.
Yeah, the other piece of that, sorry, go ahead.
I would be curious, like how the cities are involved in the master plan update, because I haven't gotten any information, and I feel like this is kind of a big piece of that. And I would also be curious, like, how is Victor going to, how's Victor handling their parks? What's Tetonia doing? Like, I just feel like we should be together on at least the operational side of things.
I would think you guys are on the list to be contacted directly,
I
right?
made a
As far
note
as
here.
reaching out to. the
I'll
city.
get Allison to reach out to all
Yeah,
the cities.
maybe they were just doing the initial survey. We're only just getting through the first phase, I think, of the plan.
Yeah, I think I received one email.
I took the survey and looked at. so
We will have another survey out tomorrow they're deciding the information for the second round of the surveys.
So that's what our big picture request was. I guess what we were looking at is if there's a portion allocated, where our thought is a portion of the rec district's funds should be allocated to the maintenance of parks countywide. And how that gets allocated to the different parks, whether it's park specific or city specific, or how that does.
Weed spraying at the river access,
Right.
those kinds of things for the county is.
Yeah, and we've got those same issues within the city. Those are still city issues that we have at our parks. And so that's what we were looking at contemplating. And the reason why we brought it up at this point is it's coming into the budget year. And we didn't know what the Parks District's plan was for budgeting. What we saw was the request for specific projects. And that got me nervous when I'm seeing specific projects. And one of my projects, I was trying to figure out how to submit it was help us pay for upping our level of maintenance. We got to paint backstops, put roofs on different pieces. We put one in for this year for the Lions Park, berm removal and upgrading our irrigation. Just planting the seed in the long term of allocating a portion of that to parks maintenance throughout the county and how that gets divided to the cities. As the city goes through its budgeting process, that's pretty critical for us to have some guidance on what we're doing. I mean, our finance officer is beating Jade and us because we put in a number of potential income from the district and a number for potential out, but no idea if that's a real number or what projects they could be.
What is this line?
What is this line? Yeah, we took a beating for it, but yeah, we were able to hold it.
Darn accountants. So, yeah, I mean, we're better than we were last year, let's put it that way. But we're still far behind from where we'd like to be, I think, from building our budget. I think we're gonna be one step behind where you would like to be this year, but a step forward from where we were last year. And I would like to think that with our joint planning in place, that we can start much earlier next year to get these things so when your accountant says, what is this line? You have some detail there. I mean, it's really hard, frustrating for, I think, all of us to try to figure this out in our short time too. But I think your point's well taken. I think, that we need to think about that as we move forward.
Yeah, and that's really what this was about. We understand it's a fledgling group here, fledgling district that's getting up to running and completely on board, but just wanted to give some.
Still walking.
No, come on. Power walking. Power walking.
Strength training for power walking.
But just thinking of the
Joint power walking agreement.
I love the idea of allocating or figuring out what the percentage of county is, and then allocating percentage, using that percentage as the baseline that goes to maintenance throughout the cities.
Yeah, because during the referendum process, there are people concerned, within cities. It's like, well, we're going to get double taxed, and so I think that is something we need to consider for sure. Yeah. The other thing I want to mention too, to think about too, is if there are capital projects that we can do, and this goes back to like when we talked the other day about locks. It's like if we can do capital projects that reduce operating costs or maintenance costs, and those I think are high on our list, because if we can reduce long-term costs, that's a good thing.
Yeah, those are, we've got a few of them, but not a ton. We're kind of going through our parks plan. We're going to be putting together our master plan for parks over the next 2 years.
So something to think about maybe, and I don't even know if it's feasible. We used to have construction trailers that were outhouses and showers and all those sorts of things we'd move in. Would that make sense? We keep talking about city park, and I talked to somebody today and they were complaining about the bathrooms, of course. And it's like, is there something more semi-permanent we can put there that's just self-contained, that just needs to be pumped, that could be clean, and more of a restroom type facility as opposed to the the plastic outhouse that, it's costing us, what are those cost us a year? $12,000.
But that's at all, yeah, at multiple parks.
Yeah, and so that's an ongoing cost. If we could make a purchase that reduces that cost down, would that make sense? I don't know. I mean, that's just throwing an idea out there.
And just so the group here knows, we really don't have any money in our capital improvements for parks. That's where I struggle to do any capital improvements, is those don't typically happen unless it's an expansion of the park. So adding the new playground at Mount Shredmore was a capital improvement funded by our impact fees. So that was fully impact fee funded. But if we had to replace the playground equipment at City Park, an example was the slide. The slide was broken. It's a $12,000 piece of equipment to replace a slide. Now that. And that,
No, it never is.
I was told that insurance was gonna. I didn't, okay, because we suggested, or I suggested maybe we could try to cut that.
but just
Something to think about.
just in an idea of that's what parks equipment costs.
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
12 grand
yeah.
for a slide, and that's not
Yeah.
installed.
Yeah.
And that actually ate our full parks equipment budget and put it in the red by $2,000. So
Yeah.
just, we're skinny on our budget. I know everyone's skinny on the budget, but that's where, some of those pieces come in.
One other thing on that Shredmore Park, that with the new development to the west of there is gonna be it kind of expands, in essence, expands that park, because it'll be,
Yes,
One or
two soccer
two
fields.
soccer fields there.
Benches and expanded outhouse at Mount Shredmore, right next to the existing, or not outhouse, excuse me, restroom. And then the additional parking.
yeah, so that becomes more of a,
It's a.
It's more of a community.
If that goes through it's still in the planning process.
right,
That- That's not an approved project yet.
Yeah, there's those people who live on that road. There we go. Yeah.
Cool. Jay, did I miss anything?
No, thanks for hearing us out. Yeah, I think Jay talked about our desire to do a parks plan in 2028. We are updating our comprehensive plan in 2027. We're also updating our impact fee study and CIPs in 2027. And so that should give us a good idea for future impact fee use for parks.
We'll make sure Allison gets in contact with the cities to make sure we fall onto on that.
Thanks for having me.
Log onto our website. You can get our news flashes, because I'll put stuff up on there, including.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's alerts that can go to your email or your phone. I put a little video up on Facebook to kind of tutorial people through our website. So yeah, get those updates, because as soon as we get new news flashes, it'll come right to your inbox.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So these JPA project requests, I mean, these came from them, right? So if
Yeah.
are we able to approve these today?
That would be great.
Action items.
Yeah, they're there for, yep.
Okay.
The only one not included in apologies was the sod and berm and baseball diamond improvements for lines.
Just the sod piece. The other
Yep.
one's in there, isn't it? The shade.
The irrigation
Yeah.
improvements are included, but we did not include, you asked Libby to create another one and we haven't
Right.
done that yet.
Right. That one still has to go through.
Correct, yeah.
JPA board.
Yeah, we did at City Park about 5 years ago.
Yeah, and it was something we had in our budget last year to do those, so.
My daughter plays softball, so we're on that field a couple times a week.
Oh, it's a tough ground ball.
We just spruced it up with Arbor Day trees.
Yes, it's it's a nice. Just go to the outfield, it's.
Yeah, that's actually been one I've been trying to get removed for years, but it's like saving money to save the $8,000 to remove that.
Mhm.
But that's coming.
They're gonna, yeah,
Yeah, we'll submit the same form, or the same template.
cool.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
for your
much.
time, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, participating, good job studies.
Yeah.
Do you all have an anticipated date that we would know about our fiscal year 26 budget and fiscal year 27 budget?
Guarantee you by August 12th. That's our public hearing.
I was gonna say, that's the public hearing.
We would hopefully, yeah, no, I know that was sarcastic. Sorry, August. We would hope to have in the next even month to have some thoughts. We'll work for people to try to.
Great. We're just trying to.
There you go. No, I understand.
Thank you.
Yeah, I understand the situation you're in. So, yeah.
Thanks so much.
Ready?
Number 7.
Number 7. Got out of order. Minimum bank transfer investment account.
We had to just agree on a number from the last meeting because it wasn't an action item on the last meeting.
And what did we agree on the last?
Need for operating.
Do you remember what we agreed that? would be?
No, it's probably in the minutes, but I don't want to pull them up because I'm sharing screens. Somebody can, it's in there. I think it was something around 80 to keep in the bank account and the rest to be moved over to the investment. I could be wrong on that number, but I believe 80 was mentioned.
We have a number in the minutes. We just said we talked about it.
Oh, great.
Um,
Look at it.
it's pretty accessible money, right? What's it take to get it back in to the account?
It's take really
24
anything. I
hours.
would just need to talk to Joe and she would move it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? 30K, 50K?
Thought we had that was 100 we left. We're thinking of leaving in there, but not too much.
No,
Right.
interest rates are still up, so.
What's that?
I said interest rates are still up. They haven't been lowered, right?
Hmm.
So. To me, investing is
Went to work.
good right now.
Yeah.
Where interest rates go down, it's not gonna be as
Yeah.
lucrative.
So I would suggest let's leave 50K in there and then we can, like I say, we can move it as we need to.
I like 50.
50.
Make a motion to keep our minimum bank balance of 50K, the remaining to be put into our investment account. For a second,
Second.
any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Matters for the directors.
That's for you.
Let's start with Sarah. Okay.
Have anything outside of what's already on the agenda? Just tonight, City of Teton should be choosing their member of the JPA board.
Okay.
I was able to get the county to choose theirs yesterday, luckily, so we're gonna move quicker, but I wish I had thought of it. Well, I tried to get them to choose in Tetonia that night, but
They didn't. That was good. You were quick on the feet yesterday.
so hopefully, yeah, tonight we'll get some more movement with the City of Tetonia. They have a lot going on with the rodeo grounds. They have a big rodeo coming up this summer too, a concert in the park. Yeah. And that's just, yeah, I think everything else is on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need you to get an agenda posted for our first Victor JPA board commencement. We're gonna do that next Tuesday.
It will need to be held here because it needs to be in a community space.
It just has to be in a space that's not discriminatory to
Okay.
anyone else.
So let's address that then
This is
because,
easier. Yeah, easy space for that. Yeah.
It's fine,
okay.
I think, for the first one.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and then we'll schedule one quickly after that because Jasmine
Is there a time that you would like that?
I think I'm gonna see if I can. What did we say? I'll say 9:30.
Okay. And I forwarded you some of the agendas that were used for Driggs. Did you just
Yep.
want me to follow the same one
Yep.
that we had for Driggs?
Mhm.
Awesome. I'll put that together then.
Change the names.
Change the names. Our third person is Jason McKinnon. Jason's big in the baseball scene, so you know Jason.
Yeah, he's on the local league board.
Jason McKinnon.
And it's MAC capital KI and then send it to you if you want. So let's It's mostly been all my fault that we haven't gotten it together yet, but we finally do. We're gonna meet. We're gonna get Victor squared away. And then I have I had a meeting today with Jenny Beach from the Teton School District School Board. They're definitely very interested in getting the JPA going. Going to meet with her and Brian Ashton, I believe on the 25th was the next one there. There should be some back and forth between ourselves, Jeff, and their legal over the next couple of days.
Did you give them our template to
I
start
did
with?
give them the template. Months and months ago, no one's really looked at it. She's gonna now get it to their attorney and have him look at it. And I'm having them specifically focus on our need for it to be generally available to the public versus their need to put kids first. And that's gonna be the real trick of that agreement. You know, an example being if it's, and one of the things we talked about a ton today was this idea of a calendar, but you know, there is just a situation where we might have it where we allow, I was calling it the men's over 40 badminton league that I was going to start, but it could really be any recreational opportunity. There's a basketball game that couldn't happen because of a snowstorm, and now it's going to be on this night, and the badminton guys are going to get you know, sidelined, and that's okay, or how we're just working that out with them. Yeah. She in particular is very excited about the idea of this community calendar and, you know, how can we get aligned there? It's hard for them as it stands. And so I don't know what that is going to look like or how we even start on it, but I think it would personally just be amazing to know that baseball's playing here and soccer's happening there and there's a rodeo here and
well, that
I could plan my whole week out.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the, you know, the note I'd sent to Katie the other day after I'd met with, it was actually Robert Boyle I'd met with for a while. And he suggested, and I thought it was a good idea that we get out, you know, in the community more, talking to people, which I think is good. And you know, kind of having that list of, okay, here's what's going on. This was, I mean, similar to that, but this is mostly for ourselves to know, yeah, there's a ball game going on, next Wednesday, you know, maybe I'll plan to show up and talk to people there and just find out, you know, what their thoughts are, explain where we are with the district and as often as not, why you haven't seen us doing much. I mean, that's usually the question that I've run into in the last, you know, is I kind of expected when I saw my tax bill or the appraisal in the mail, I don't know, we're gonna start hearing some focus. So I've had somewhere somebody got my phone number must be somewhere. And
oh, really?
Yeah, probably on some paper, which is fine. So I get these phone calls and talk to them, and that's fine, you know, to explain that this is what we're doing, this is why, you know, where we are and what, you know, and where we expect to be, and you know, why you're not seeing a whole lot or why you are, or you know, just to have those discussions. Kind of similar to the editorial that was in the paper, just, you know, kind of providing that information.
Yeah.
Where we're at. But I think it would be good for us in general, and maybe side note on this a little bit, but to have an understanding of what those different activities are and maybe get out and talk with people. I think that would be a valuable thing for us. And also maybe identify, you know, different things. I think, you know, you've got your parks people here, your maintenance people, they're seeing something. But that might be something different than when you actually go to the ball field and you talk to the people playing ball and they say, well, you know, what we really need is a new drag, you know, thing to drag the
Yeah,
whatever,
something,
you know,
yeah.
and is that something we can, you know, provide? Yeah, so those sort of things. But I think, yeah, going back to that, your point is scheduling and, I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the next month or two is going to be a lot of budget and JPA launching, but maybe it is in September or something. That's something we can start to, we can even tackle this calendar concept and see if it's something we want to lead on.
Yeah, I think we can, yeah. I don't know, we need to push it out till September, but start thinking about what would it take to put that in place. I mean, probably one of the number one one of the top issues that was raised last year was indoor space.
Yeah.
And so, schools have a lot of that indoor space. If we can help with them, help them
Well,
schedule.
and that was her sort of
Yeah,
admission was they're not well calendared themselves.
no, you gotta know the right person in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not.
And there's things going on where like junior jazz basketball claims the auditorium from 9 to 5, for 3 straight months or something,
Yeah.
and that's allowed to happen because maybe the person that's running that calendar is really into youth basketball,
Yeah.
and they're like, this makes perfect sense. And it's closing off opportunities to others. I don't know if you're saying we're gonna have to kind of, it's all part of having a joint powers agreement, right? Is that we both get a little bit of a say in how things are operating. I just think it's important that, those sorts of things don't happen, and it really is a more generally available and easy to schedule opportunity for
Yeah.
people.
I think of like in the administration building there, that gym, how many times I go, because there are shops there and the bathrooms are past the
Which you
gym.
did a great job on Connie's bike, by the way.
Did you? Good. Did she bring it
I
in?
took for a little ride.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I saved that bike many, many years ago.
Like,
John fixed up my mother-in-law's bike. It's an old Schwinn.
Usually, oh, is that your mother-in-law? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually we hear people's complaints, but no, not all. We hear good ones too. But you go by there and how many times that thing's just sitting empty,
Yeah.
and it's like no one's using it. It's like, well, maybe people don't know, and so because all these spaces are there, and the fairgrounds is another perfect example of there's space in there is again used and as much as possible, because I think, and so if we have some way of helping at least minimum identify those, I think with the school district, if we can help with the scheduling of those. And maybe like, I think we suggested a while back, maybe the admin building is a place to start as a test.
Just that
See,
space in there.
Right.
Well, just as a kind of a test bed to see, okay, what are the issues? Because we're gonna run into issues. The first one is those junior jazz people, when they get kicked out, they're gonna be
I
mad.
mean, the first one is, do we host it or does the school district host it? Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of also early question.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, if it's something that we can host, that allows them more ability, they can focus more on education.
Yeah.
And so that person's not, focused on managing these gyms. If we can help take that burden off them, I think that's a good thing. From that standpoint, I think it's gonna be hard. But I think all these are, as opposed to just buying sunshades is easy, but some of these things I think are gonna be a little hard, and people are gonna be mad you're gonna have to get over that hump, and then when it's hopefully running good, then people will go, I think this is good for the month.
So in Allison, another update from Allison, the next phase is she just was reaching out to the nonprofits, right? Is that what I just read in an email? Maybe part of that outreach is like, what's your ideal space look like? How long do your practices last? What's your season? Making sure that nonprofits are identifying those for us. And I think that'll help a lot with the calendar, because you can be like, well, you told us that your practices are 2 hours. Why are you reserving it for 4?
Mhm.
And trying to just make people accountable for their time. I feel like in this valley, people are really guilty of signing up for things and then not showing up.
Mm.
And that all it does is take up space. It takes things away from other people. And so if we can get people to commit to a time, show up for that time.
And then if they don't show up, they need a certain amount of time to cancel so that somebody else, if they wanted to use it, could.
So maybe that's part of this initial outreach, is having them define their actual needs and what they can actually commit to. Or are they just saying, no, we need that space for 2 weeks in the spring every year. Like, that's what we need. I don't know. Is it really?
Kind of like the soccer folks last spring.
That took the
Reserved
baseball
everything.
fields. Yeah,
Yeah,
they took the
yeah.
baseball fields, and just because they could.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I guess that's is that part of what's happening in the meeting tomorrow, I guess, is
all I know is she said that we're going over, or that she's going over with the recreation committee, the results. And that they're gonna discuss what's gonna be on the second round and focus more on the nonprofits. So I think that can also go in line with the city too. City's non-for-profit technically. They can get in their input as well.
Mhm.
I would just hate to see traditional recreation programs go to the wayside because we haven't encouraged the families and the sports groups, and they're already feeling defeated and they're feeling ignored, that we don't have a master plan that's going to include them.
Yeah.
So if we don't have it, if there's no interest from the families to come in and get on this survey, we have no proof that that's where the community wants it to be. And we need to encourage that. And the nonprofits that are organizing all of these youth and adult sports and traditional recreational programs, they need to be a part of this.
And so that's, I guess, the next phase, and let's make sure that we're getting, they have numbers of who, they know where people live, they know where, you know. they're
Well, this
coming
may be a
from.
good idea too, like,
county.
once we get a survey and like a QR code and everything in the marketing put together, that's something that can be printed up and brought to these leagues and given to the parents and given to the adult players in the senior center and all of these places that would like to be a part of this recreation district. There's gonna be some that absolutely want nothing to do with this, and that's fine. We just may not match what they're looking for, but we're never gonna know if we don't have anything beyond trails and parkways responding to a survey.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. So, yeah, on that note, is anybody planning to be at that meeting?
I have to be at the meeting.
Right, no, I know you are.
I booked it and
This is-
I
think
watch
this is
them.
One I could actually make it to, so
Okay.
I could.
It's at 4.
If you want to go, that'd be good. I can say if one of us go, otherwise we have to announce it. So if nobody else could make it, I'd go, but if you can go, that would make me happy.
And I think Katie's gonna be a good asset and getting this calendar figured out, because she's done it.
Yeah, that would be good.
But yeah, I think that, the challenges is just people have always done things a certain way. And a lot of that's gonna be perfectly fine. But
Some-
some of it's not.
Yeah. Cool. So my input was gonna be just basically that discussion of let's see if we can get out and talk to people more, some of these things. And it's similar, it's like, and I think we can take maybe the message from the meeting tomorrow too, is, you know, if there's a survey that's gonna gather that.
Right.
Make sure people respond to that too.
You think you want like a,
No,
or something?
I like going incognito. I
TVPI.
was thinking I'd ride my bike and bring my dog and then she would talk to me and.
District 2.
Because
I know, people need to know.
I hate, you know, I'm Idaho and I don't, so I'm not.
You could make it red, it could say make parks great again, something like that.
My wife's from Michigan, so she's a Midwesterner, and she likes to talk to everybody.
Yeah,
I'm not that person,
yeah.
but I can put myself out there if I need to. But I think it's a good idea. That's my.
It's definitely a good idea. Okay. What did you guys think of Jay's comment around taking the park area? and using-
Let's discuss that when we talk budget planning.
Okay.
Let's hold it for that thought, and let's get back on our schedule here a little bit.
We're on 8.
Are we eight?
Did you say that
We
that was your
finished- we
conversation?
finished
Okay,
8,
so
yeah.
now we're 9.
Yeah.
We've got an action item here for
Yeah,
the
so there's got
JPA projects.
Yeah, we got the projects there. So these are the projects we went over in that format we had.
Would you like me to pull? Is it the JPA project requests?
Yeah,
There we go.
so Jade and Libby put these into this format. I think I think we need to, as we to just haven't worked through this process. The future maintenance needs. I think the way they addressed it here is more maintenance associated with the park itself. And I guess what I'm looking at is kind of to address Jay's question, and that's, okay, so we put this first one here is the Lions Park dugout roof. So what are the maintenance needs associated with that project? So we know that in 5 years, they need, I mean, their life is expectancy, let's say it's 5 years, that in 5 years, we need to replace it. So we can think about that and put that into our long-term planning is, yeah, in 5 years, we'll need to replace this. And so I think that's where I think that criteria or discussion should be.
Maybe it'll be time to get decent dugouts. Place, it just seems like a Band-Aid project, which is fine, it's needed.
Yeah, oh, you mean get a whole new?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, the whole
yeah,
backstop, I mean,
yeah.
ultimately could be replaced in 5 years.
Mhm, mhm.
So for smaller stuff like this, that I feel like is just a Band-Aid. But it's gonna help out in the meantime and
Right.
improve the parks for
Mhm.
users right now, which I think is what people are looking for. I'm not sure we need to
Well,
like that, although if they're looking to be reimbursed for the time it takes them to put them up and down every year, we might need those numbers.
yeah, so what are those costs associated, so that we can have a number, an idea of what, so, and there's others, let's say we were gonna pay for a new pathway. And I mean, that's a pretty good example. This new pathway, it's gonna cost us $100,000 to put a new pathway in. And that pathway, it's gonna be a gravel pathway, it's gonna need ongoing maintenance for weeds, maybe rolling on a regular basis once a year, something like that. What are those costs? So that when we decide, yeah, we want to pursue that, we recognize that we're also potentially taking on that cost of that maintenance.
Do you think it's important to turn that from a potential cost to where this document might say, future maintenance needs or expectations is that, Teton Valley Parks and Rec expects to contribute $0 to the maintenance of this thing, or 50% of the ongoing cost of the maintenance of this thing. So there's some expectation early on.
Well, I think there's two ways you look at it. One, this is the Joint Powers Board saying, here's the project we think, here's what we think the costs are.
Mhm.
And so that comes to us. And then we go, well, yeah, we like that project, but we're only gonna fund, $50 a year to maintain it. And so that's our decision, that's what we want to do at that point. But to make that decision, we need to know what are those operating costs associated with that. And if the city is willing to assume that other $50, if it's $100 for operating costs, and share that jointly, then we'll proceed. If they aren't, then maybe we decide we don't want to pursue that.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, just to me, it seems like this document right here becomes a really important record, right?
Mhm.
Because in 10 years' time, it's like making sure we have the $50 line item accounted for.
Yeah,
I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, just more that
yeah,
this
yeah.
becomes a very important piece of the file, and maybe that piece around maintenance funding expectation should be included.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Where is Lions Park?
That's the baseball field on kind of the south side of town, like.
Like peak printing,
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay.
Over there.
Yeah,
for sure.
just a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets used a lot.
yeah. They were gonna put a RV spot there, camping.
There's a community garden there or something. I
There
think.
was at one time, I think it kind of fell apart.
Good phone.
Yeah.
And sorry, guys, I'm just feeling really bad. Where's Mount Shredmore?
Now Fredmore is,
It's like looking at this map behind.
there, you got a
Has it, I could zoom in.
Shoshone Plain.
Rigs, so we're looking, I don't know. How many planes I always thought was over here, isn't it?
That's what I always thought.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah, it's kind of right below that one, little.
it's just a little neighborhood pocket park kind of thing.
It's bigger than that. It's pretty good size I forget how many acres it is. There's, it's the area they actually groom more than that in the winter. They groom some of the private land there too, but it's groomed for the city, the Driggs City
Okay.
cross-country ski trail. There's and the community got excited when they were gonna knock down the hills. There've been these hills and they were sledding hills. And so they got together and convinced the city to save them for sledding in the winters. And that's where the name got changed to Fredmore because they're not. But it's also, you could say it's kind of a neighborhood park, but with the growth of the soccer fields that are gonna go across the street. It becomes more of more, I would say more of a community countywide park from that standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was that discussion on maintenance was probably the one thing that I would think we'd want to change as we move forward with these is what are those maintenance costs? And the other piece that I suggested, and they set them separately, is that behind each of these, we have a basis for the cost estimate. So for example, this project costs 16.5 is based on some proposed costs. They haven't actually gone out for bid because they can't do it until they have money to go out for an actual bid. So
Okay.
they're based on some other projections.
Okay.
But I think it's good to have those behind it. So, you know,
Is that a requirement of our funding that it all has to go out to bid? That was a question that the school district actually had.
it depends on, the amount. Yeah.
Under a certain amount is not required to.
Yeah, under 20 for sure. I can't think, it might even be under 50. 50 is the, we can go track it down. Yeah. Yeah, because when we issued that's one of the reasons we got delayed on the master plan update is their bid came in higher. So then we went out for a competitive deal because of that. So that was, yeah, that's the only other thing is in my mind is yeah, if you have something, so when we look at these projects, yeah, we understand they've done a level of estimating that, you know, helps us feel confident in the numbers, not just a wag, that there's something behind it. And that's that other document they provided there, provides that. Yeah, so the first one is some dugout roofs at Lions Park. There. Second is a gazebo at Shredmore Park. It was originally intended to be put in place by the developer, and I forget exactly what happened. This is a replacement. There's an existing foundation there. Build this on. And I think this is one that would be makes sense to have a good understanding of what the maintenance costs of those would be.
Just say minimal. That's a future with replacement or structural expense in 25 years.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean.
Yeah,
it's
that's
made up
probably,
of-
yeah. Next project, Sun Sales at Primrose Park. One of the big concerns there is there's no trees and such, and it's bright, and so these are pretty good sales they've developed there. Yeah, okay, so they did address these better, yeah, as far as the sale when they're gonna replace 15 to 20 years. Which, you know, this is a good example of it may not be replaced in 15 to 20 years, or maybe trees that grow up and make them obsolete.
Type of things are gonna be what we need.
Yeah, yeah. Irrigation improvements, Lion Park, that's a ongoing issue with pattern dry grass and things like that. It's a neglected piece. The skate park. lighting.
Did you predominantly put this together? Did you have Driggs Parks Committee do this or Jay or?
The projects had been developed with the Parks Committee over the last probably 5, 6 months.
Mhm.
And then, when we came up with this format, I sent it to them like Thursday. That's why I was, they turned it around pretty quick.
Yeah.
To try to put it in this format for us, which I think was good. But yeah, skate park, the lighting there, they got issues and this is to fix it, get it up to all back up to code and running right.
So we're at 18 plus 8 is 26 plus 44. So that's 70,316. 108,316.
About
127.
for drinks for 2026.
This brings it to 127,606 if my math serves me correct. So
If you add it up correct, that's on.
that's in my head. I wouldn't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do it in my head.
How's that jive with what was it allocated for
Did you
drinks?
say there was 130?
137.5.
137.5. And they're also, the other piece was the field hump, which I think is an estimate of about 9,000, so that'll pretty much, that lasts.
What's the field code? Sorry.
In a baseball diamond, when she knows this better than me, I've just learned this, is as you run the bases, over time, dirt moves out in the field, there becomes a hump, small hump. And so when the ball comes out, hits that hump, does things it's not supposed to.
It's just dangerous too, like if you're the
Running, yeah.
first baseman backing up to try to catch something, it's
It's supposed to be flat.
It's supposed to be flat.
It's a baseball field.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's significant hump. And
Yeah.
it's right on this north side corner, right by
Is that
the,
Lions as well?
this is Lions.
That's at
yeah.
Lions, yeah. So we had put in money last year for all 3 cities to do this. And one they're already taken care
Yeah,
of.
Teton got dirt and I'm not sure, I haven't examined what they did there, but they just made it happen. They had some
Yeah.
Volunteers and
So we had wanted to try to do that, but timing as much as anything. So that's something definitely for Victor to look at and see what they've got there.
Yeah.
Whether
but the
they,
dugout roofs, that's something that could be done at all 3 city parks, honestly. The dugout roofs, this first project.
there is dugout, it's City Park, hasn't it?
City Park has them, yeah. They're kind of not in the best shape,
Are they-
but I mean, they're adequate. I mean, we're just talking shade cloths, for these dugouts that would be taken down every year, I would think for the winter. But they could be put up down in Sherman Park. They could be put up in Tetonia as well. So I like this project because it's something that all 3 cities could do
Use.
and benefit from. And maybe we get a cost savings or something if we just pull the trigger on all the parks. I don't know.
With the dugout roofs, you're saying in particular, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I mean,
I feel like it's tricky to do that when we have 3 separate joint roofs.
Well, but there's things we could do, and even if we need to get those, but in place probably, but I think, there's a couple ways we do it. We could purchase it all, as we just being the purchasing agent. There's nothing that keeps us from doing that effort. And then provide those to the cities to install and maintain. And that's one
A
of
dugout roof.
well, it's a shade cloth, but they're calling it the
okay.
dugout roof project, but it's a shade cloth essentially.
yeah.
It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
We're not rebuilding dugouts, we're
Yeah.
not redoing the backstop, it's just the way the fields are oriented, or at least Tetonia and Lions. There's just no shade for the, like,
Yeah.
kids, you can't like see what's going on in the field, you can't.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's something, all the parks could use them.
So are those pretty standard size dugouts?
I'm sure they're all different.
Yeah, I know that was a stupid question. The diamonds are probably aren't even standard, even though they're supposed to be. So,
Wasn't someone from the Driggs Park Committee? I feel like I met him up at Turkey and he was working on this specifically.
could have been, yeah. Maybe what we
But I said, that sounds like a great project. You should bring it to John. I don't know if he did.
maybe what we can do, I'll ask Libby to see if there is any cost if we triple it. Because it'd be what, there's one, two.
Victor would have two at Sherman Park at least.
There are 2 fields at Sherman, yeah.
Two, so if we,
One for Driggs,
We
one
did.
for one set, I should say.
yeah, so if we did 4, would there be any cost benefit to that?
And then bring it to our JPA boards and just make sure they're
That's something that we do.
something that they want to. And I feel like there was a makeshift one done at Teton last year. Someone just got those ones so you can get an ace,
Hmm.
you know, just throw them up. Maybe that's the answer too. I don't, I don't know. Maybe this is too fancy. Existing structures.
Mhm.
I didn't do the research on this project.
So. Are there any other questions about any of those projects? Do we feel they kind of meet our general fill for what we want to pursue this year? I mean, this kind of falls into that same, until we have our long-term plan put together. We're kind of taking things that come at us and figuring out how to react to them.
Yeah, I think I'd be game for approving these today. My only comment would be, do we want to pause and talk about a line item in terms of the ongoing maintenance expectation or commitment? Is that something we add here? Is that something that we just put on future ones?
Yeah, I guess what I would suggest is, just so we can keep things moving, is that we approve these today. And then right now, we have not committed to any. I think we recognize we've got some level of understanding what that maintenance cost might be. But to then ask, that I could ask the city, what are their real expectations of what those costs might be? And we can look at this a little bit better. But I think, we've kind of addressed that a little bit in these, what the life expectancy is. This first one doesn't seem to do it as much as the others, but, so just so we know that those are, a 5-year, and they're probably 5 to 10 year life expectancy. And that as part of our long-term planning, is we're thinking about replacing all that, and, that's a different question. Whether we need to do that in the future or not, but.
Yeah, are we somehow obligated to do it? Like the shade club doesn't feel like much of a concern to me. I think that's great. That comment in here about how most respondents said we need more shade in the parks, like I feel like it's an easy thing to set through. I think about the skate park lighting.
Like lighting,
You like
I
lighting?
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My-
Kids need more things to do.
That part gets a lot of.
My concern though is like now, what is the maintenance we're signing up for on light bulbs or renting the lift to get it done, and just making sure that we're tracking those commitments, if any.
Yeah.
So that next year when we are budgeting, we've got a line item in there that says, oh, we need to reserve $250 for light bulbs in Fifth Street Park, and it's not lost.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think, and that's what I'm suggesting, to come back with these projects, I'm suggesting we approve them now. I get kind of a long-term estimate of all these from the city of what their kind of CSOs are. And then we can look at that and say, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know that we're at this point committing any long-term maintenance, because we don't say that in this document here.
Okay.
That's kind of that's what Jay was asking for, and I think that's a valid request. And I think we need to look at that, but within, we put aside last year $50,000 just to cover future maintenance stuff in our budget. It's kind of ongoing. Some of that was to cover potentially the trail between Driggs and Victor resurfacing over time, banking that money there. And so, I think we need to develop our overall spreadsheet as these projects move forward with, here's our costs. Here, so we can track that, show, and not only can we show what property is ours, what those maintenance costs associated with those are. And so when somebody asks you what you've done, we have a list of here's some of the things we've done too. So it's kind of a trail to and building that database of stuff and kind of keeping it, since that's going to kind of fall on Katie to keep that, maybe as you start thinking about this as we gather these projects, how best to keep track of that information so that we can, go to one document and say, here's what we did in 2026. Here's the long-term anticipated maintenance, those sorts of things.
See common themes in here just from across all the cities could potentially have these types of projects, maybe not necessarily a gazebo, but maybe a picnic shelter, or maybe but lighting, I really think lighting is needed. I know that people want their dark skies, and I think there's a way to do that with new technology.
Sandpoint has it on timers for their skate park. They just got lights put up on theirs. And it's all solar powered and timers, and it's ran by whoever is running their open and on that night. It's on a clock timer, and if the kids want to extend it, they can turn a dial and it'll go.
The city of Driggs is pretty, all their their street lights are all downward facing for dark sky stuff. And I think it can be designed that way. The ticket is, the rodeo grounds is probably the example of not
High school football field.
in the high school football field. You see those in the summer. I don't know, some of those, I'm not sure how you do it different, but I think, and I think that's important to point out, because I think
way to do it, and I think it would really help the youth. I don't know.
Is this park in a neighborhood by any chance? Like, is this near houses?
It's near the Fifth Street potential
right.
office there.
There's a couple of houses. There's a mini house right across the street from it, but
Just the
Just
street. There's nothing.
something to consider with lights.
There's a lot of trees to the east and north of it. That I think would help shelter a lot of the light.
Okay.
Most of the affected people would be across to the west.
Our timer was malfunctioning a little bit one night, and I got about 15 emails from the neighborhood that the lights were shining into their house well into the 2:00 hour. And why are we allowing kids to be at the skate park at 2:00? Are there police around there? Like that kind of thing. So just little things to consider through my experiences of municipal parks and rec.
Yeah, we could probably, that might be, I don't
It'd be
know.
more of an operational from
Yeah,
the city
figure out.
problem.
After 10 o'clock, it doesn't work kind of thing.
But if we fund it,
Suggestions for the types of lights we're buying, like, these are the considerations we want you guys.
I just look at the details that people aren't that aren't obvious, just
Yeah.
because we've been through it. I've been through it.
No, those are good.
Nobody wants these emails. You really don't.
I mean, I can see like the basketball.
They're okay to have, but
The basketball courts having those type of lights, because that's what I used to do as a
Yeah.
teenager.
Go
Go
out
off work
there.
at the mall and go play basketball, burn off some steam before going home.
Was it that hard working at the mall you needed that?
ugh.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Okay, so to move us along, I'll make a motion to pass the proposed joint JPA projects from the city of Driggs as written, with the stipulation that we will get an understanding from Driggs what they anticipate the long-term maintenance costs would be.
I agree with all of that. I really do like this comment though around this lighting piece and dark sky compliance and whether it's a timer and that'll be run with a time clock or something like that. Just think going through this format, it's tough when you go in first, right?
Oh, yeah, no, it's good.
But I feel like we're lacking a little specificity on some of these projects.
So let's make that, I marked it on here.
If you could remake your motion with that comment.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also, where did their numbers come from? Did you say they sent you?
There in that other, the meeting minutes, I believe, the meeting minutes.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
you sent the meeting minutes.
they're in there. No, let me see.
Oh, there we go. Hold on, I got it.
Yeah,
Let me get that shared. Yeah, there we go. How many pages was this meeting?
let's see.
Oh, okay.
To be. Yeah, let me forward you this. So this one document here. Oh, that's the same one, darn. Just ignore what I just sent you. Okay, here it is. Sorry. This document includes the basis for estimates of those.
I think that should be part of it as well.
Yeah, yeah. The backup associated with them, so, modify or restate my motion since it wasn't second to approve the projects, joint powers agreement projects with the city of Driggs, with the stipulation that the lighting in the skate park for dark sky ordinance, and that there be a way to adjust timing on the lights so that they don't operate past the city's,
Park curfew?
yeah, ordinance, I think it is, yeah, because I know there is an issue, they have an ordinance as such, because I know that rodeo grounds, when they were going to be annexed, that was a concern. And
The
that,
city has a ordinance about when exterior lights can go on and off.
Probably just when people are supposed to be in the park.
well, it's the lights, like they have certain, yeah, I think it's 10 o'clock, we can look into that
That's
exactly.
for most parks.
Yeah.
Man, usually noise, that type of,
Yeah.
overnight, but
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Something.
There we go. We already discussed climate space. It's a good thing we did that. There must have been something in my mind that said, let's get that over first. Public lands easement discussion. This was a pretty good, Sarah and I attended tour with the state parks and rec folks, Wade Kaufman and, Dan Verbatim. We first looked at the Pole Canyon site, which would jump in anywhere you want here. It was basically as long a power line. And
Summer Wingers property, right?
Yeah. The landowners seem very willing to probably sell that property. It would
Okay.
need to be split. It really can't be developed because it's under this power line. There's, so from that standpoint, it's ideal for a parking area. And there's definitely problems with increased, especially winter use up Full Canyon, to have something like that. And so, that was looked at first, there. The second property we looked at was, Garden Creek. Grove Creek property. Which was at almost 3 acres or a third of an acre. What was it? It said a third somewhere. I wrote it down in our minutes, but that was the one you've been working with Wade on. And they proposed the minimum $12,000 a month.
Yeah.
I think it was. We did discuss with parks folks there what they figured was at least reasonable. They were gonna do some more looking. I haven't heard back, but the one number I believe was what percentage? 1% of the property value per year. I believe that. It was like 2,000 a year is what the number came out to in the property value.
And when we say property value, are we talking about the value of the leased portion of the land or the value of the entirety of their parcel?
It would be the least portion. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I haven't heard anything back.
I mean, the land value, their property is 6.5 acres, and land value they've assessed at 78,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what here we came up with that number. We were throwing numbers around. There's that.
Calculations.
And when you're thinking about that, and the third property we looked at was on the corner of would be Reese Road and Pinnacle Loop. Where they come down, it's that area that the people that live up there park their cars and have historically parked their cars and snowmobiled in. It's getting more snowmobile use in that area. So there's a lot of traffic there. The land ownership has changed and the new owners aren't allowing people to park on that property anymore. And so what was proposed was to take this area right near there, bring in a bunch of fill, and it would be actually on the rail trail area. So it'd be state park land is what it is, and turning that chunk of area into parking.
Is it improving the existing rail trail
It's
parking
just a
zone?
road crossing at this point. It crosses, the rails to trails crosses the road right there. So they would improve, make an entrance essentially onto the rails to trails and park, similar to the other trailheads that are out north, where it's just, they kind of widened an area next to the trail to create
Yeah.
parking. Although this would be more built for trailers where they could pull in and pull out
Okay.
versus the other trailheads that are in that area.
In the minutes, I attached the satellite photos. Do you have
Oh,
that?
you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Yeah, so this would be on, there's kind of a difference in all these two. This one's would be on state property, and so it would require parks approval of that.
The ranch managers seemed like they would commit the fill material. They had that on hand. It's like I could bring dump trucks tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
yeah. bothered a bit by it because, I mean, the three different areas sort of, I mean, the first two, we have landowners willing to make land available either to sale or lease or be used. In this particular case, the landowner is not willing to do that, but they were there to try to encourage us to move people onto state property.
Well, so
You
the
did-
problem is
Yeah.
there's never been trailer parking there. People just
Yeah.
park on the road. They park
Yeah.
wherever they want. The
Mhm.
homeowner issue, that's a different issue.
There's two different problems. there,
There's
yeah,
two problems, and I don't think we should be solving the homeowner problem.
Right.
Because those people choose to snow machine in. They could easily pay to have their road plowed.
It's a county road.
It's a county road
They
that doesn't
could, the
get
county,
maintained.
yeah, the county
So-
doesn't do it, but
I
yeah.
don't think we should be solving the homeowner problem. I think we should be solving the recreation problem, which is
Snow machines.
snow machine trailers parking on a road where there's not room. It's not safe. I think is one way
Yeah.
to look at it.
Yeah,
And it's been a problem for a while now. Even when the homeowners are allowed to park up the road.
yep. Yeah, so I think that is, I agree with that completely. There are two different problems. One is an unfortunate problem, which the county, in my mind, is more responsible for addressing. And they've addressed, or they've raised the issue multiple times. Daryl's mentioned that the difficulty in maintaining, plowing that road because of the way it is, it's so hard to keep clean. I think they just need a bank cutter because of it.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's designed. But my contention is that I think it would be a non-starter, considering how sensitive people were to the discussion of paving that trail. That if now you're gonna create another parking lot in this
Swath of
area on this trail, which to me, in my mind, is gonna change the character of that portion of the trail significantly. I suggested at the time that maybe they could move those snow machine, down where there's an existing parking lot and expand it. It's not that far away. And most of those snow machines are
Further south or further north?
to the north.
And so it would be to the Jenkins trailhead.
Yeah.
No, south, there's no room.
Yeah, to the well, not on the trail, but there is to the south. If you look at the photo of the that the security guard gave us. It's also attached to the minutes. That property. Yep, that property there is, I took some pictures when I was riding out there the other day. That is, it's uncultivated. It's probably 2-3 acres of land. It's flat, wouldn't require much work. And kind of my feel from is that is something that they would be, I would be willing to ask them would that make sense? To put it there. It's not being used by anything of theirs. It is on their land. But I think that's more palatable to the general public and it doesn't require the state of Idaho to make that agreement.
Yeah.
And then so.
And that's Times Total right across the street, yeah.
Yeah, he bought all of that
Yeah.
last year.
The previous homeowner was allowing the homeowners to park, but she wanted them to have a permit just so it wasn't just random people parking there.
Yeah,
And then now, I don't know if that permit situation is still gonna be available, but she did say that the snow machine traffic was becoming a bigger
it's a bigger
issue.
issue. Yeah.
I don't know, there's grants available for this type of project, a lot of them, like because the motorized vehicles pay their fees every year.
Mm.
The state parks, I think, has more money available for motorized right now than other things.
That was one of the things the state people said is, yeah, a lot of this can be, so I think there's there's definitely grant money available for for any of these projects. I think the Pinnacle Loop ones probably wouldn't need to involve us particularly because it's on state land. You know, it's just something we were there to see. I think if it went on private land, then I think it would make sense for us to be involved in
And
that.
by being on state land, you're saying it's in the trail.
It's on a state park land, and I think that's
Yeah.
not an easy, I don't think that's an easy. I don't think that will happen easily.
No, that one happened down south, like south of Phil. That trailhead, it just appeared one day, and so I.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that was a small movement of, you know, this is and that's kind of. That's a tiny, I don't know, I just think this is a big effort. You know, they want to put gates and fences and fill that whole area. And maybe it would be easy, I don't know, but I don't know that.
That's a Wade question. It seems like he'd be the one spearheading that effort.
Yeah, but I don't know that we need to, at this point, we don't have any direct involvement. There wasn't.
Support for the project itself, I think, is maybe what they're asking for.
Yeah,
Like a written letter of support, you mean?
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not sure how far Wade has moved on it since we had our meeting.
yeah, I haven't talked with them. It was a week till we had our discussion. Personally, I'm not very supportive of that particular effort. I have real problems with it. And I think.
Of us tackling that problem.
Yeah, or just even supporting it. I think there are better opportunities, and I think, and this sounding a little bit mean, but somebody who just got a pretty good deal on 160 acres of state property could donate 3 acres for a parking lot. I mean, and I think it would help solve his concern and others, and be a good thing it'd be a positive for the community. Maybe he'd look a little better.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. So.
I don't think it's wrong to have that opinion, and I think that there are that's just one of several factors on that spot.
Yeah.
Makes it look a little problematic at the moment.
Yeah. I think it's a needed. I mean, I agree. Something needs to be done there. It's just a matter of what's the right thing. And I don't feel comfortable taking state land for that. For the snow machines, because to me, if we were gonna do something, you know, moving them down the road. And even if we needed to put no parking signs, because one of Wade's comment was that, you know, people get used to stopping there. And it's harder to get them to go to the other end of the jack line loop, which is what they snow machine
It's
anyway.
probably the access as well. Those roads don't get plowed as well as accessing from 12,000 and Reese Road. The further you get out, like once you get over, they don't maintain that section of road,
Right.
14,000.
Yeah, from right there, yes, from right there where the
Next
parking lot
road.
is, that road isn't maintained, but it is at the other end.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
challenging, and I don't think it's a priority
Yeah.
for the county because there's not as many folks living out there.
Mhm.
We have one plow account out there, and so I say,
So
somebody
you-
needs to
yeah,
get
yeah.
out there, and we're like, we can't get to your house today, sorry. And we just have to wait till the county plows it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's still an access issue. But I think it is more of a state parks
Issue, yeah.
issue if they want to provide access. Although it also services the Forest Service land from BLM land that's out there, so.
Yeah, no, I think,
So
I
it's an
think
access issue.
it's an access issue.
Standpoint.
Yeah, it's an access issue from everyone's standpoint, yeah. The state parks are the ones that would have to approve, definitely have to prove that. I think personally, I think it would be worth pursuing that private land as a discussion. We brought it up with the representatives that were there, and I believe based on their response that at some point the homeowners had suggested a parking lot up around the bend up on it hill a little bit because they kept talking about an in-holding. There won't be any in-holding. That isn't going to happen. But this really wouldn't be an in-holding. It would be on the edge, so different thing. And and such, but. Just my
Yeah.
thought or something.
Good.
Yeah. Just need to follow up with,
Back to some of the other ones, did Summer suggest a price you'd be willing to sell her property for?
no.
No.
No,
The split, the other split, she would try to sell to Teton Springs. It backs up right up to their horse area. I guess they have a little, I didn't realize they had horses back in
Back
there
in
here
there,
for
yeah.
Teton Springs. I guess they have it all. So they would be the potential buyers of the split.
Interesting.
yeah, so it would need to be appraised, and that's something, if we wanna, consider it as we move forward. Our next action would be to approve somebody get appraised. What that value.
Give me my appraisal here in 1 sec.
I don't think it'd be expensive property because it is so. Yeah, it can't be developed, so there's
24 acres though. The power lines are gonna occupy.
I think it was like
Portion of that.
5 or how much
Did you say,
acres?
did you say in your minutes what the acres?
I think they're,
Thought you did.
I thought we did. You got it there. I did, then I closed them all after.
I mean, that parcel over towards Teton Springs, I think is definitely,
That's developable property.
yeah.
Yeah, that one's worth something, but the other, they'd have to do a lot split.
Full Canyon, 4.83 acres.
Yeah.
Would be it's an L-shaped property, I guess,
Mhm.
so it'd be that southern skirt or
Yeah, southern chunk of it.
southeast skirt.
Yeah, so it'd probably sell as grazing land. I mean, that's the value of it.
That's what we use that for.
So I don't think it'd be horribly expensive.
I think it'd be $250,000 at least.
I don't think so.
5 acres.
It's undevelopable. It's only the ag. Because it's under the power lines, you can't put a property there. A house there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to do for the next step on that one then?
Well, I think we need to follow through with Wade, see where he's at with it, and if it requires, the next step for valuing it would be an appraisal. We'd have to go with what an appraised value is. Of that. And if it makes sense, then we can, yeah. And I think it was, of the three, that was the clear and easiest and made a lot of sense.
Mostly because of the size.
The size, the location, the property itself is not really of any other value except grazing or hay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it solves a big problem that's there, so.
Yeah. Cool.
So, just, anybody want to take the next step with Wade? You want me to? I can follow through. Would you like to? Whatever.
Following up with Wade on Summer's property in particular.
Yeah,
Trying to work on an appraisal, you think?
Well, at some point, if we're going to pay for appraisal, we need an action to do that, but we can decide, and I think that's a reasonable thing to do. I think it makes sense to
Okay.
move forward.
I'm happy to follow up with them. And let them know that that's our first choice of
Well, that's,
these options.
yeah, I think, that's one, the other one of Grove Creek, where we've got to figure out what's reasonable.
So it needs an appraisal, I guess.
Yeah, that may need an appraisal too,
Yeah,
but
I don't know that it does.
I don't know that the $1,000 a month thing
If
is.
we're gonna buy something, I think it'd practice to have an appraisal.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing we had talked about is
Mhm.
maybe they would be open to selling it. It would take some work with the county and the zoning to make sure it's an appropriate use. Still, I think we still have to do that anyways, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean,
But
I think it's a
to
far
a
better.
plan, to approve a land split and just buy it, you know, because
think
they
that's-
said 25 years minimum. Not
For
just
the
20
lease?
For a lease, the park gal
Yeah.
said they won't do anything less. And they won't do grant funding usually for anything less than 25 years. And to me, it's like, we should own it at that point.
Yeah. I think it
So
makes
I-
sense.
I,
I
it
would
makes me
think-
more comfortable,
Yeah,
you know, it
Purchasing
feels more
something.
defensible, like,
well, it guarantees, I mean, what we're looking for, let's guarantee access to the future for people.
yeah.
And we don't guarantee it if it's only a lease. If we purchase it and it's purchased at an appraised value, that's the hard thing is, you know, but I think it's, I don't know that they're gonna split that little chunk off and develop it into something else anyway, so.
Like a mixed hayfield at this point that they're still
Yeah.
kind of farming, but it's very small. I
Yeah.
don't feel like it would be a hardship to
Yeah,
not
so
have that little farm, in that little field of mixed hay anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is.
Great.
So, yeah. if you
I'll
want-
call Wade,
Yeah,
let him know we're not gonna. I'm gonna corner Thomas Tull at the rodeo Saturday night and talk to him about Pinochle, and then the other ones will,
if you wanna do that, that'd be great.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely.
I want
can
to
get
tell you
within
what I
50
thought of
feet
this
of him.
security guy, but that was a whole different story.
Yeah. But
Poor,
otherwise,
poor Sarah had to listen to me vent.
we'll let that lie, and I think talking about, an interest in purchasing these is the step that we think is the best.
Yeah.
How we need to approach it.
And when you're talking to Wade, one thing I think is important for him to think about. And you can say, on this other one that maybe there's an opportunity for that, like 3 acres in that little bottom areas. When we looked at those properties, we had 2 relatively long-term residents in the valley that were willing to do it. Help really, give us in one way or another, make property available for us.
Yeah.
To help solve a problem.
Yeah.
This other landowner, it would be nice if he would consider that also as opposed to trying to push that problem somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of
Nicest
for
way
these
to put it.
people, this is a
Yeah.
huge chunk for them. For him, it's nothing. I mean, that's my
Sure.
kind of my
Yeah, I mean,
my feeling on that. So
no, I think that all makes sense.
cool. Okay,
Budget planning,
what's that?
budget planning.
Budget planning. So, budget planning. So I started to pull, what I did is I took our, spreadsheet from last year, started to pull that in and create a new spreadsheet for next year. The one thing we have to build into that is, because our budget year is doesn't line up with our funding year, our tax year. So, and I think we discussed this a couple months ago, we got our budget year started in October, but our money doesn't show up till January. And so we need to carry over at minimum operational costs through October. The other thing we need to consider is through December, excuse me, yeah. So I populated basically that in there. The other thing we need to think about is, and I'll go ahead and put this sheet out for people to start populating, is what are those projects within the cities and the county that we're pursuing that will be done this year and or not really start until, so we're carrying those money either way, just to make sure we're carrying that money over. And such, and then start thinking about what are those new projects, and that's the hard things. It's like when we were discussing with the city people, we're behind on that process of where I'd like to be. And figure out what those are, same with the school district and what those are, the thing we need to think about, is, and I had this discussion with multiple people, is ideally, I would have liked to last year taken a fraction of the total we could, because, we knew that it's going to take us time to ramp up, and we're not going to be able to maybe spend all that money first year effectively. but because of the way the statute's written, that first year defines our top
That's
three
right.
year. And
Yep.
so we had to take that whole amount. And so as we move forward, now we have established that year. So as in the next year, we're not obligated, in my mind, to hit that high tax dollar number. We need to be able to identify projects that make sense, and we don't want to just ignore, there's going to be some contingency we want to build into that, but we can take less than that if it makes sense. And so that's something to think about as we're doing this. And because we want to make sure we can show, we don't want to be carrying over tons of money all the time. That's not good. And we can forego the 3% increase. That goes into a different bucket. So that's a different kind of process. So this year we could take, let's say we got 1.8 million, we could take 1.8 million plus 3% more. That could increase our budget up to there. If we choose to take 1.5 million, that 300,000 is available we can go back up to that.
Would that be at 1.8 plus 3% the next year?
Yes, but that there's foregone dollars. That's at 3%. They call it foregone. That gets put away into a separate account. We have to have a resolution and all to do all this. Yeah. Sarah's got between the three of us, we'll probably remember how to do this properly. And there's plenty of the folks in Boise that put this discussion on the last 2 years. They're super good and responsive, so that they're really helpful for those sorts of things. But so we don't lose those monies. There's concern, if you talk to Kim Keeley, she said that, well, the legislature's trying to, take all that away anyway, but that would probably be future problems anyway. But at this point, we'd be okay there. So that's something to think.
Is that your recommendation, you think, John?
I don't know what the answer is. I think we need to develop our budget, make sure it's good and solid, that we have things that we feel good about. That, these are things we know we want to fund this year. Right? Like the city of Driggs saying, hey, when are you going to tell us what we're going to fund? We might not be able to say these 5 projects will fund next year, but maybe we can say these 5 projects will fund, and then we have so much percentage of money we put aside for covering those. Figure out all what those are. That builds up our budget, and then we see where that sits. And so instead of last year, as much as anything, we said, this is the amount of money we need, or this is the amount of money taxes we got to take. Let's build something underneath it.
Yeah.
So this would be more of a bottoms up. So let's build from the bottoms up, see what we come up with. And then because of where we are, I think we'll build in contingency. We'll say, hey, this is what we figured out, but we're going to run into other things next year too that we hadn't thought about. We'll add that contingency in there. So build that. I'm just saying we don't have to hit that number.
Yeah.
And I think to be responsible, if we don't have a pretty good basis for what's under there, we don't want to hit that number. I think but we're not losing it by taking a step back. So that's a good thing. We lose it for that year, but we don't lose our ability to tax it. That makes sense.
And is the actual application of that a change in the mill levy rate then?
No, that has to, no. So the mill rate, that's the maximum we can ever levy. Is that rate.
But our process with them setting the budget.
But that just really, if you think about it, that just sets the first year, that rate. Because what happens is that budget can only go up 3%. And so that rate is then that our budget is, instead of spread over from 100 houses, now there's 150 houses built in the county. So that rate is spread further. So our actual effective levy rate goes down over time. If that makes sense.
Per person is paying.
Yeah.
Or per household is paying less for the same rate.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Do you have, or is there in the shared drive a draft budget where we can start just?
What I'll do is I'll do a couple more little iterations with this by the end of the week. I'll put it out there. I'll send you a note and say, hey, here's
we'll call it.
Yeah, so we can
FY
start,
27 or whatever.
yeah, yeah, fiscal year 27 budget, so we'll put that out there. And we probably, just from timing, we probably need to think about in maybe a couple of weeks, get together and kind of hashing through where we think we are for things in a special meeting, because things come pretty fast. And,
Okay.
and such, and on a note of that, I will not be here for the public hearing. I've been informed I have to be in Alaska by that date for my grandchild being born. Originally,
Which public hearing, sorry?
when we do our budget hearing, I'll be August. I can be online, but I was told that the child is due August 12th. Originally, we were told last grandchild born, we were told to don't show up for 2 weeks. Now we've been told to show up a week ahead. So I will be there, but we'll be online. So
Cool.
I'll be online. So that just
Well,
full disclosure
all
now.
that goes well.
And
That's
our
exciting.
meeting last year was good. I think, we'll I don't see any big issues. I'll be online.
It should be mostly figured out before the meeting, I would think.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
The-
yeah.
Like the L2's already been filled out.
Yeah, I think the only issue we ran into last year was in our initial budget, we had put in scholarships and we found out we couldn't do anything with those scholarships. We couldn't do that. And so then we had to deal with that in the public meeting and try to figure out what to do with it. And so that was more complicated, hopefully.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot. I mean, that was actually a very beneficial lesson for us because that really forced us to think harder about everything. Which was good because it's keeping us out of trouble. That was one of the discussions I had with Mr. Boyle was, he was concerned that we should be doing things faster. And I said, this is what we got to do. It's the statute. This is what we have to follow. We'd all love to be doing things faster. but
Slow is smooth and
slow is
smooth is
smooth.
fast.
Yeah, government's not fast, unfortunately. And it's also fortunate. I mean,
Did you have a chance to talk to Robert about his decorum and accosting people in parking lots at night?
did he get a copy? Did somebody?
You were approached after the Teton City Council.
Oh, yeah.
It was a half hour. We stood there and talked.
2 hours.
It was 2 hours?
It was 8. I didn't get home until 10:45. It
Well,
Robert will
we left the meeting early.
was like 8:30 was when we got out because you showed up at 8.
Yeah, I was thinking. it
We
was
left at
45
8:30.
minutes That he stood there and. I listened.
Yeah, no, but
I don't
Robert,
think I'll do it again.
yeah,
I'll schedule something later,
yeah,
now that I've learned how
yeah,
much he can talk.
Yeah.
I'll say, can we schedule a time to do this later?
yeah, and that's what I did with him. Robert's got some good points a lot of times. And I think that's good, and I think he's another constituent just to listen to.
Mostly he
Yeah.
was upset because when I was talking in the meeting, he tried to interrupt. And I just kind of did the,
Oh, yeah, no, that
one of
would,
you, like, let me finish. And
yeah,
then the mayor never called on him or anything, so we just kept going on and he was upset. He's like, the mayor should have been the one to silence.
that's probably true.
If
but-
there is a lesson to be learned,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
bring up
yeah.
aquatics facilities during council
We're
meetings.
bringing it up and maybe.
Yeah.
Something will come of it.
Robert's very concerned about making sure everything's done according to,
We're trying.
and that's okay. Yeah, we're trying. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my thought process on that.
Sounds great.
And I'll go ahead and start to populate
I
those.
will work with Victor and school district on some 27 thoughts.
26 thoughts too, if we have money in
Yeah.
there.
No, definitely that too.
Yeah, we have a couple $100,000.
I mean, I'd be
set
surprised
aside.
if we get anything done with the school district before August 12th.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But there's, if we put money in last year for field work. And if that money, it's logically to be done in the fall or early spring, but I think if we do it in the fall and we just carry those funds over into the fall, that would be reasonable.
Yep.
I did send Paul Kitchen a note today to ask him. I know he had gotten some estimates for turf fields. and see if that makes any sense or not. They're used, like as I mentioned to people, my trips through North Dakota and South Dakota and those inclement places that are used heavily there because of.
I want to find an article I read relative to children inhaling,
Yeah.
hard metals and things from recycled tires that most of those fuels are made out of.
Well, it's what they did for a while. I don't know what the status is now. I think a lot of that's been addressed, but they used to use like this ground up tire stuff within it. It's not that the turf's made up of it, but I believe, and I want to believe that they've addressed that. But something we definitely have to look at. Yeah. But part of the issues here too is water and we can reduce water use. That's a good thing too. So, but yeah, no, there's issues.
That's really my only concern. I think that all the others are real positives to that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know that at least 10 years ago, that issue came up and I want to say it's been addressed or disappeared. I'm not sure why, but we need to understand
Living
that.
under power lines that actually doesn't cause cancer. No, I've been believing that for 40 years. So really.
Yeah, no,
Are eggs good for you?
No raw milk.
Yeah. You want not right. You want to see, I took a picture of my mother's grocery cart once, a couple of years ago. We were into Idaho Falls shopping for her. And I told them, send a picture to my sibling that said, I found the fountain of youth. Purely processed food and nothing from the veggie section. You'll live to be 94 easily.
Preserved.
Yeah. So. Okay, Teton County Joint Powers Agreement.
So I attended the EOCC meeting yesterday. It was productive. They approved joint powers agreement with an amendment. Now that the fairgrounds are off the table for this JPA, it was decided to just go back to a 3-member board. Just being able to get that many people to get together and be productive and make something happen, as we all know, is hard to do. So Dan sent me an updated, Dan Lehman, who they also appointed to be on the joint board, sent me an updated JPA. I think the main thing he did was clean up the Exhibit A so that it's a list. So the one that we have on our agenda right now, there's a cleaner version that Dan did because they had a list of things that they were gonna do on Exhibit A. And I said, no, we need a list of sites.
Yep.
So it's just, Exhibit A is just a cleaner version with just sites. And then, they kept wanting to add things. I was like, no, these are the sites the commissioners approved yesterday.
Yeah.
So it even looks different than that. And once I make the change to the joint power board, where it's made up of 3 people instead of 5, I'll send Katie the copy to do the DocuSign. Or assuming we approve, still have to approve it on our end, but the commissioners approved Exhibit A, including Buxton River Park, Teton Creek Corridor Trail, our shooting range, Teton acquisition, the South Bates parking west of the Teton River, Horseshoe Canyon, like the trailhead parking there, Pack Saddle Road River Access, also known as Cache Bridge, and the old right-of-way road river access. And so all those last 4 are all located within a county road easement. So it's not necessarily considered a boat ramp or anything like that. It's just they own, that's a county road. They have so much land on either side and everything, the bathroom, the trash, it's located within that easement. And so that's what we would be operating under for this agreement.
Do we need to check that with Jeff, do you think?
I think it's probably okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's an easement, and so, for example, if we took an easement for a property for access, that would fall within the realms of.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think of, with like easements for a utility company, right? Where they're gonna say, we're gonna run power through your property, we've got an easement here. That doesn't give them the right to put up utility company employee housing in the
Right.
easement or portable, restroom facility or anything like that.
Right,
So,
except well, in this case, one of them is a portable restroom facility. That's in the easement there at,
The railroad. Old right-of-way railroad.
does that have a
river
bathroom down
access,
there
They put a
too?
bathroom there, but
Yeah.
currently the road isn't passable.
Yeah,
Like,
the road's
that
pretty
might be
bad.
what we've helped
is that the one that
with.
runs in a diagonal to the northeast kind of?
Yeah, it's a real bridge.
And then, so if you're floating the river, there's all those old bridge pilings in the
Yeah.
middle.
Right there.
A lot, I see people fishing there about every time I float that section.
And it's good to have a bathroom there because I've been there when they didn't, and it
Yeah.
was a mess.
And so, we can, once we decide, like, once we work through these different projects, I think we'll have to make sure we define that before we can do anything there.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, see if you see what they listed, the toilets and trash collection is pretty basic. And I think it's what the people want, honestly, from access sites. Place to park, a place to use the bathroom, and maybe pack it in, pack it out.
Old right of way shows up on here as a parcel. A Teton County owned parcel, it has a parcel number,
Could be it.
so I think that one's okay.
Yeah, I think these are places where, if there's a porta potty that we ought to think about putting up in the bathroom. And
That might be a good place. The road needs to be improved, though. It's a truck rupture when the weather's like this. So if you want, I can just show you, we just kind of cleaned it up and it's just a list now. It's not really defining, it's not gonna define what we're doing on exhibit A.
Okay,
That'll come later with the project sheet, like what Driggs provided.
Yeah.
We'll have something like that. And I think something that, I guess for the county, maybe our project sheets, is there already an agreement in place? Or some of the other project sheets, for the cities? Is there an agreement or a lease in place for this? If so, with whom? It could go either way. Maybe the city is leasing something from someone or they're leasing it to someone. Like I think of, the ice rink.
right now your lease,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be something to add to the project form as
Mhm.
well.
Oh,
Like
it's
you mentioned earlier
City Park,
is
that's leased.
what agreements are already in place with other organizations.
I see.
And
That's a
are
good
they
point.
on board with what's going on, or does it fall in line with what's going on? And I guess that's what I was getting on with the plan. I mean, yeah, some of them have plans, so.
Yeah,
But maybe Coulter Marina is an example of, is that someplace, they would like to do things there? Additional work if that
I
facility,
think generally, my understanding is if the city of Victor says, hey, we've leased you the land, it's your facility,
yeah,
take care of it. Maybe that parking area gets a little bit of shared transit use, so I think that quite applies to that, but I would suspect they'd be interested in spending their dollars elsewhere besides.
yeah, no, I'm just saying if it were to fall under there and you say that, they're looking for money to put concrete over their coils, make that a year-round thing. If it was something that fell in that, we could do it. If it's just a lease that isn't really, that becomes questionable whether we can do it there. If it's leased to them for 100 years, 99 years.
My understanding is it's a ground lease, and then the facility itself is owned by the Teton Valley
Yeah.
Foundation.
Yeah, so that becomes a whole problematic thing to do any work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it would be.
yeah.
Yeah, so as we go through and do our project sheets, making sure it's defined what kind of access point it is, whether it's just an easement or is it owned? Or is there
Yeah,
an
just
agreement with the owner already in place that we can document.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I feel like if the county already has an agreement in place for that and they're naming it here, we should be able to work under with the JPA and work under the agreement they already have in place. We don't need to go reinvent the wheel and make our own agreement with this
Right.
landowner, right?
Yeah, no, I think we're good there, yeah.
yeah, I think it's a good question. I think there's like a line of it's like legal, you just call it that, and
Mhm.
making sure that, anything we're financing, is generally available to the public and there are no, in the example of Kotler Arena, I imagine that organization could pull a Teton Rock Gym move and say, the Thackerys aren't allowed to ice skate here. And I don't think we would want to be party to a group that's doing that. I don't think we could be, right? And so to your point, these project forms or whatever we're calling it that you just presented, John, I think it should maybe have a maintenance expectation and a legal, are there any ownership easement type issues related to this project that we should be aware of? Just to kind of cover our butts.
So, it's, the county, we want to make sure because a lot of the river access is owned by either Fish and Game or private.
Yeah,
So
I was just looking at that south base is,
that's Fish and Game. I believe,
The-
and that one, and
they
then one
own
that they
land
wanted,
there, but the actual parking lot appears to be on someone else's property. I don't know.
they might have an agreement with them, but they're the ones that maintain the toilet.
That landowner,
No, the
Fish and Game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fish and Game owns the land like where you put your boat in, according to GIS right here. They own the ramp, they own the bridge, but they don't own like the parking lot, just
Yeah.
west of it.
So maybe, that might be something as we, there's two things, it's a porta potty there too, right?
It's a,
Or does that one have a
it's a
permanent?
permanent one.
Okay, but I mean, maybe that might be something depending on what the agreement is with the landowner, that in the future, we want to look at, if we're gonna do improvements to that parking facility, can we acquire it? And keep it in the public domain, because, but we need to understand that, but.
So
Yeah.
Fish and Game should probably be on our radar as far as probably more JPAs, I guess. But for now, they're working within
guys know anybody
the
Fish and Game?
easement, huh?
Do you know anybody there?
Yeah.
There's someone on the waterway committee. His name, and the guy, I think it was the same Matt that spoke at,
Are you in the waterway committee?
I'm not on it, but I've attended some of their meetings. My partner on the JPA board, Dan Lehman, is on that and he supervises that committee, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically it's just making that change back down to 3 members and then this cleaner list for Exhibit A would be what we're approving.
So I'll make a
Sorry,
motion to
sorry.
approve the
Okay.
joint powers agreement with Teton County. With the edit to reduce the board down to 3 and with the revised exhibit A that Sarah has provided.
A second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Motion passes. Office space. So. Can we take a 5-minute break?
Fine with me.
Take a 5-minute break? I can use the restroom.
Bio break.
Bio break.
Right. It's you, Dan, and who's the third JPA member for county?
Big City Park. Oh. Well, because 4-H meeting moved and my husband probably didn't have that information. But it was happening hard ago, so.
Back into session here. Office space lease, why don't you start with the county, their discussion yesterday, and then we can talk about that.
So I was there for the JPA and then we were there for the office space. There, they were still wanting to lease us the space. They, have that target number that they wanna raise money for a project. I mentioned that City of Driggs was offering a property for a much more reasonable price with potentially more amenities. And so their solution was to increase the lease to 36 months, which would bring it down to $656 a month. So, I mean, they were able to bring it down, still not as low as Driggs. So I think if it's coming down to $1, a purely dollar amount, there's a clear winner. I honestly want to know Katie's preference because I wasn't able to go inside, but I looked in there. It looks nice. I'm not going to be the one working out of it. I mean,
I'd rather do Driggs.
yeah, it's cheaper.
The location is good because it's right there by the skate park. It's part of that community. Kind of, I mean, there's the disc golf there. I mean, it's sort of Driggs's view of where kind of the regional countywide recreation stuff is headed. There's property already there that was donated for a recreation facility in the future, so that would be in that area. And there's potential in the long-term vision, I think that some people hold is that building at some time in the future could be all, become the rec districts, to a broader sense, those high base stuff there too. I think the final one I just had sent, there were a couple questions I had on the first version. One was, it mentioned utilities. And I asked Doug about that. He had said, well, we just, divide the utilities by square footage. And I said, can you give us an idea what that cost would be? And then he came back and said, we'll just add $50 a month, which would be better than trying to every month try to figure out what this is. It's just, so he increased the rate to $450 a month for that space. The other question was with signage. There was a similar statement we had in the county lease that said about not putting any signs up. And
Not putting any signs?
yeah, the county lease, remember it said you can't put a sign out.
Yeah.
And I said, we would like to put a sign out.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I think we can, that's not a problem. We can do that.
I like to put a big sign up.
Big sign. We can
Yeah.
put a big sign out. Yeah.
Like equivalent to the Driggs Public Works sign kind of thing, that's the big benefit of that property is we have, a street presence.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't have that in this building. You
Yeah.
walk into this building now, you don't even know what you're walking into.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in each of these rooms.
Yeah.
And I do, but I
Yeah.
didn't.
Right.
Now
you do.
now I do,
Yeah.
but it's only because of this. And so I think it's that, to me, that's the biggest benefit of that site is that we're gonna get just a little bit of a presence. Oh, Teton, just having a sign there is like, you know what? You look at the sign 50 times and I think I will finally get in there and do that survey, or
Yeah.
I am gonna make sure I talk to so-and-so and, it helps get our work into
Yeah.
the public realm.
The one downside is, right now they don't want it left unlocked. And so we probably install a buzzer thing, buzz, and then Katie will have to get up and let them. I think we might be able, that's something I think as we move in, we can maybe.
Couple of months of good behavior from.
Yeah.
We think people need to, we can put this on there that if they want to come and have a meeting, that they need to schedule a meeting time. And that's what I've done in every municipal building. And my office has always been open, but it hasn't been open because the public can't just walk in when we have documentation out or we've got personnel out or
Mhm.
they call Or they say, I'm even in the parking lot. Do you have time to swing
Yeah.
by?
Yeah, and so that, I think it'll work. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that.
So we can add that to if they want to schedule meetings, just contact me and we'll get them on a calendar and they can come in and
Yeah.
I'll chat them up. I got
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last version he finally sent, which I think I forwarded everyone right before you, was just, there was a piece in there that had to be changed for the increase of escalation over time, and he
Yeah.
verified that, so I
Which
was,
is pretty standard.
yeah, that was fine. So,
Do we need to confirm, what of the tenant improvements, are we renting those from Public Works? Are they come with the space, but we can't take them with us when we go? Any thoughts on some of that
so when I
piece?
heard the facility with Doug, he said, there's those couple cubicles there, that those desks, they're integral to that system and they would stay. We could move them out. There was a real estate agency moving out of the thing, and they were giving away a lot of stuff, and desk was one of those. And Barb decided that we needed them for the rec center. So now I have a desk that we probably don't need, but did come with a nice chair and a very nice filing cabinet too. So those could be used or not, whatever. Those were
Yeah.
just something that was for $25. We got a lot of stuff. So
I just don't want to sign a
For-
lease on a Friday and move in the following Friday and, the cubicles have been pulled out because they're like, oh, that wasn't included. We're moving those into the shop or.
Yeah, Doug said those were included, so I take his word on that. So,
Yeah.
And then, so for now, it's just the cubicles because I saw the map, and so there's that front desk area. Wouldn't necessarily
be
But then
there.
the conference room is behind that, right? And we would have access to
Yeah,
that.
they have access to the conference room. They were looking at maybe a larger conference room. It's smaller than this. But I think we can accommodate changes if we need to. In worst case, I think we could probably. And just thinking in the back of my mind is we can go into the high bay area and set up a conference table there if we needed to. And if we had a big 100 people showing up, that would be an issue, but
Yeah, and there's other venues for these
Yeah.
larger events.
yeah.
Yeah, the conference, did you go in?
I couldn't, the door was locked.
Yeah.
And when is the parking area gonna be done? I guess that's another factor. is
Pretty
it's
soon.
kind of a-
Pretty quick, I bet. I don't know for sure.
Looks like they're pretty close to the
Yeah.
finish, but he did say they're gonna pave all that street this year, so.
Yeah, so it'll be a lot nicer there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it'd be nice.
Like I said,
That is actually one of the more negative pieces of that property, I think, is the conference room is.
Smaller.
Yeah, it feels like a break room
Yeah.
in some ways, but.
Yeah.
The group we had today would have a hard time fitting in there, I would say.
Yeah, it's probably about the size of these two tables together.
I mean, realistically, we didn't need all 6 tables here. If we removed 4 of those tables, we could have had all these chairs up here and made room for more people. So we used 90% of this for tables that weren't being used. So
people could sit in.
It's just part of our enthusiasm.
That word goes with one another. Yeah.
So here, this conference room comes with stacks of chairs. If we were inclined to rearrange for our meetings, we do have, is there anything like that available in that building, or is that something we need to purchase?
That we'd have to look and see what is available. It's probably not in excess of what's fitting around those tables. But that might be something we need to think about
I mean,
purchasing.
we're getting a huge cost savings, so I feel like if we needed to purchase something like that, it
We
would
could
be,
reasonably.
but just things that we need to think about.
Well, do we have a motion? Suggested motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the office space lease with the city of Driggs as amended with latest iteration for to adjust the lease rate escalation clause.
That is the latest version that was sent to you, so that's already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. To approve the lease as presented then.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Give her a chance. Motion passes. Yeah, we'll get done today, maybe. Information request. Discussion. Yeah, we received an information request from the wire. 10 days ago, I think it's probably due today.
It was sent Wednesday. That was when I left and it was in my inbox.
But
I left for Arizona on Wednesday and it was in my inbox that morning, I believe. They sent it to you too, I can't recall.
yeah. I think we have addressed all of their questions. Is there
Yeah.
any additional
Sorry, which information request is this?
from the Teton wire?
Oh,
So,
Jennifer Bragg.
yeah, Jeff Bragg and Robert.
yes.
We'll have an online. piece.
What's needed for me on that issue?
Nothing.
Thank you.
at this point.
Great.
Was I able to help you, Katie, with things, the things that I provided? Guess we got in touch with Olivia, found.
That got taken care of with John and Erica. And
Yeah.
he's explaining that one, why the dates are not.
Yeah, so I checked with
line.
Jeff on that. I said, hey, this is what we did, we discovered in this. He said, well, yeah, just sign it now and explain that. So that, yeah, just straightforward. We found an error and corrected it, so. Cool. So the only thing is just, yeah, when you attach those files, just label them with that number.
Oh, you want me to do that? Sorry, I didn't see that in the email. So I would have
Oh,
sent
no,
that, I would have sent that last night if I would have known that
No,
that
no,
was
we-
the
it was on
instruction.
It was on the agenda to discuss, so.
Okay.
I wasn't ready to go, but yeah, if you'll just take those, files, the additional file that was attached, the one from Erica, that one
Mhm.
had the number, there's a number call out in that little note.
Okay,
So like number one, so it's attachment, that's number one, so it's the first one that shows up, so they can just go, here's what you asked for, here's the file, so they're labeled out, 1, 2, 3, and then it has the name.
okay, I'll look at it.
Yeah, it'll be, I think it should be obvious, and if you just relabel that, and then change those highlighted things that were missing, just clear those,
Oh, okay.
yeah, should be.
The benefits package, is it okay that it's just the offer letter?
I think that's fine. It identifies the benefits. They can go to the state and find out what those benefit packages actually are.
Okay,
If they want more, they can come back and ask for it, but I
okay.
think that.
Because I mean, and there hasn't been any, we just
Yeah.
now are trying a third
Right.
attempt or a fourth attempt on getting me onto Percy, so
Right. No.
that's money that hasn't been taken out of the district.
Right, but they're still part of the package, but I think that addresses the question. And if there's more detail, they can come back and ask for additional.
Okay. Yeah, I've got no problem sending a picture
Yeah,
if you want
take
it.
care of
I
that.
thought the personnel manual had more detail too. That's
It
the
might,
public
Yeah,
documents.
that's-
I don't know,
yeah.
I'm gonna save yourself some
yeah,
work. Also, here's our personnel manual.
yeah. Yeah, if you want to provide that too, do we want to add that too? We could,
I don't think it hurts.
Yeah.
More information.
Yeah.
I mean, they're asking for information.
sure. Yeah, so why don't you add that in there? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good. And there we are, the executive director's report. What do you have to say for yourself?
I would say May and June have, like, so far have been busy. So here is what I've compiled over what I've done this month. Get that over there. Attended the training in Idaho Falls, attended a Transparent Idaho online training, attended the iCrimp training. I met with Dan Lehman and Sarah regarding the JPA. I met with Jody Adams through Jana. Jody Adams is an incoming president for the Academy of Parks and Recreation. I guess she was over in Jackson trying to help them secure funding for tennis court covers. Super fascinating lady. She's been in recreation for a long time. She has also been a professional tennis player, and she's trying to, she says she's retired, but she's not. So that was inspiring to see that you can keep going with this career no matter where you're at. We saw me at and my dog at the attending the Conservation Coalition meeting that took place at that cider place. I participated and attended a trails cleanup, met other directors and non-for-profits. I met with Rock Climbing Jacob twice. Met with the Driggs mayor. That was through Jana. She set that one up as a meet and greet, but we discussed a bunch of other things during that meeting. My administrative work included 3 meetings, 1 regular, 2 special, going through the minutes, agendas. I would just like to point out that when we have a 52-minute meeting that has shoddy recording, I'm doing 2 hours to get the minutes together for that. So this one is probably going to take me 6 for this particular meeting. So just to give you guys a breakdown of what meeting times do. Agendas are also not just Word documents. When I have to do an edit on it, I have to pull it off the agenda, remove it, click save, bring the agenda item back up, attach documents, bring it back, click save, modify, put it on the website. So it's not just a simple type up. It does take time to create all these agendas, which is why I ask specifically to get it to me on time, because I know we have to edit, and that does take away from other things that I could be doing. Updating the website and social media. Also, you guys can look in the shared files. You asked me to update and modify the recreation committee file and clean it up. I did that. I've also set up files for all of our invoices, the ones that have come in, the ones that have been paid. There's a bunch of folders that I added to our shared drive to clean up the last 1.5 years of files. I met with Tom from the Yellowstone Coalition just to see what kind of partnerships we can come up with. I've been working with
Which coalition is that?
the Yellowstone Coalition, the guy who did the cider. He was the one that arranged the.
Okay, the Greater Yellowstone. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've been working with Sarah and Susan regarding the lease and the JPA. I attended council meetings with Sarah, arranged meeting times with Sarah from the Mental Health Coalition. That's tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm going to the pool tomorrow as well to take pictures, and I'm in contact with the fire district regarding AEDs. So, and I took a few days for a vacation.
And then we bothered you during.
So it really wasn't a vacation. Because then I came back to minutes and a bunch of other meetings. So anyway, that's just part of the job.
Yeah.
But you wanted a breakdown of what I do. That is my breakdown of what I've done
No,
this month.
I think it's good. I think
It's
ED
great to just
report
hear
is
that.
always good to,
Get,
yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be good if you include that kind of a report before the meeting too. So we have if we think of questions we want to ask during the meeting, I think that would be nice.
Do we have questions? I mean, we still got time.
No, not that I can think of right now, but I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
thinking into the future.
Right.
It's kind of a thing like that. And then that would also force us to try to get
I
our
have a
stuff in on
question.
time.
Yeah.
The meeting that formed the JPA board, can that also be the meeting where projects are discussed and presented forward, or does that have to be a separate second meeting? It can also be that
You
meeting.
could do it all at the same time.
Okay,
We did too, just because of timing.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's all for me.
Cool.
Oh, I also made a video yesterday and I uploaded that onto Facebook.
I started to see
That
that.
was an absolute nightmare to try to figure out how to do that and get it on there and not sound stupid while I was doing it.
Well, you got
But
one too, huh?
those tutorials are probably going to come just even from an administrative perspective. Like I said, somebody's eventually going to be taking on doing this website and building agendas. And it's not easy. There is more to it than I think you guys even anticipated, just to put together an agenda and how to get it online and how to get it out to the public. So I'm going to start doing tutorials and instruction, and I'm going to open up the administrative opportunities to the info.tvprd email. So whoever ends up taking over, they can just jump in as an administrator and start learning how to do that as well.
Talking about taking over. Are you leaving?
No, I'm just saying there needs to be more people that
You
know
said
how
that
to do
twice in a
this.
row.
Like,
I just-
no, I'm looking at like what's going on right now as far as like
Yeah.
just even me being the only person that can
Yeah.
record a meeting.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be the only person that's recording a meeting and I'm in a car.
Mission.
Well, I know, but I mean, even at that time,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there needs to be a plan B. We can't just rely. If something does happen and I do need to leave, like if something happens to my
Yeah.
parents, I'm sorry, I'm going out of town.
Yeah.
And somebody's gonna need to be able to do this and not wait until I come back.
Yeah.
So, and it's been beneficial to me moving into other districts and other departments that the previous person that has vacated, I can go into their files and go, you know what, this isn't hard for me to get all this ActiveNet stuff up. We've got programs happening in 2 weeks. I gotta get this going.
Yeah.
So to have that step by step is not a bad idea.
If I had created the Zoom meeting as well, it wouldn't have been a problem, but because you created the Zoom, you were the host and I needed.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is like, and it's also on the Zoom meeting is also our info. It's not my personal. It was the info email and I haven't changed the password. So
I could have gotten in there and logged in from that instead of me.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, that's simple.
Yeah. So it's just little things like that. Like I'm one of those people that tries to plan ahead because once all these projects start getting going, we're not going to have an opportunity to worry about these details. And if I have time to put these details together just out of trying to get everybody under one umbrella on what we're doing from the administrative side, that's just how I do it.
That's good. So when you put an agenda up, if we have a document that adds to it, you have to go back
So-
completely down and redo it.
Look, I'll show you really fast. Okay. I know this, let me get to our website. You guys are going to absolutely like it looks cleaner, but it's not clean at all. Favorites. Oh, that's not it. Shoot. Sorry, guys. Favorites. Okay. So I got to go to, this is just me getting in here,
Mhm.
logging in. Save your stuff. It's important. I got to make sure my live edit is on. I go to modules, agenda center. Click on the agenda. So we'll look at today's. Okay. This is what it looks like. So if I need to add a document to, let's just say we're doing an opening and we're introducing somebody, I've got to pull this off, hit save. I'm not going to show as amended. Once it saves, it's going to give me an option to go to another screen for items. Oh, come on.
Sure it is.
There we go.
Mhm.
So then I go to items. It brings up the opening. You open up opening. Attach to upload the file. Go back to save changes.
Okay.
Go back to I got to go back to the agenda. Now hold on. Go back to the agenda, modify it again. Find out where that placement was in the first group that I sent out, and then take that opening, make sure that it is doing what it's supposed to right there.
Okay.
And then go to save and publish, save, add calendar, and then it asks a bunch of questions for that too. So just keep in mind that that is just a process of uploading a document.
Okay.
That's just one. You also can't copy and paste, so you have to build every one of these agendas from the ground up. There's no, I've tried
Can't start from an agenda.
Yeah.
Maybe
You
some-
can't paste word in there.
No.
What's that little upload agenda box? Is that what you were doing before when the format wasn't quite like lining?
So this is something that I didn't realize until I took the training on this. These all need to be ADA accessible.
Uh-huh.
A Word document that's 5 pages is not ADA accessible. If somebody has to use their fingers to scroll with the mouse and it can't be the arrows up and down, that means that our format is not ADA accessible. So no, I've tried doing just uploading a Word document and I get a big warning that says this is not ADA compliant and you need to hire somebody to go through all your documents to make sure that they are.
So but for the agenda,
I can't take a Word document, especially if our agenda goes to multiple pages and put it on here because then it's not, in their computer system, it's not ADA accessible.
No.
So that's all of them.
So like, have you worked with like the default item Like to just have the comment there all the time? Like, is that what that is?
I've tried, I'm telling you, I have tried to expedite this every single way possible because I don't find this to be the most efficient. I get it. I understand it. It's fine. I've now figured it out. But I just needed to share with you guys the steps that I take to get just a simple agenda put together. And that's one thing that just takes a little bit more time than traditionally typing up a Word document and posting it. But it does make sure that we have the ability to upload documents, the transparency is there, and we're ADA compliant. So. So when I ask for those items by Thursday, it's because this is what I got to do.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Things should be a little smoother, quicker as far as.
I'm not worried about it. I feel like I need you guys to see this part of my world.
So when we send you something on Monday night, we go,
And it's like at 9 o'clock at night and I'm in bed. Yeah, because then I gotta get on that like as soon as possible. So please don't do that.
Well, from my standpoint, if it's email, to me, it means you're gonna look at it during business hours.
that's
If
kind
it's an emergency, I'll call you, like.
yeah.
real emergency. If
I,
it's an email, wait, like
Yeah.
turn off your notifications. Wait.
yeah, I often send things as soon as I think about them, because it's like, you know, like I'm riding up the hill somewhere and it's like, oh, they didn't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
I'll send, because if I don't, I'll forget. I mean, my mind doesn't hold things like it
Yeah.
used to. Not that it ever did.
What I would adopt Sarah's thing is that. if it's
Don't
an
open it.
email,
Yeah, yeah,
I email people at 3 a.m.
yeah.
You know, I'm not expecting a response at 4. I'll call them at that point in time.
So I used to work with this guy in DC, and I was pretty good at coming in about 6 a.m. to work, and I always let him think, you know, that I was, or excuse me, when I come in at 6, I would send him an email saying something, you know, and he thought I was always there at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nowadays, you can schedule your emails and have them go off at
There you go.
5:45. You're like,
We need to wrap up the meeting.
To adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned.